Thank you.
Pick and shovel in hand, dirt flying wild. Blood, sweat, spilling, dreams of worth untold mile. Eyes fixed on them stones, a glint of cold fire burn. Clawing through the earth, tireless hearts won't return. Red dirt warriors chasing yellow gleam in the sun. Battered and bleeding, but we won't be done. For the families back home, hearts heavy with hope. Through ragged dreams and rocky slopes. Mountains of my tales pass through the years. Every grain of sand soaked with dreams and fears. Grit and grim men forging fortune from the rock. Echoes of their struggle ticking like a clock. Red dirt warriors chasing yellow gleam in the sun. Battered and bleeding, but we won't be done. For the families back home, hearts heavy with hope. Through ragged dreams and rocky slopes. For that elusive cold, prayers sent skyward under the star. Red dirt nation driving to get far. Red dirt warriors chasing yellow gleam in the sun. Battered and bleeding, but we won't be done. For the families back home, hearts heavy with hope. Through ragged dreams and rocky slopes. Yellow gleam in the sun. Battered and bleeding, but we won't be done.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Nation is live Monday. How's everybody doing? We got a wicked live tonight. Prospector 406's mic's muted, but he says hi.
As much
We got 406 Miner in the house.
How's it going?
We got our co-hosts in the backstage here. We got Reg Lab.
Hey, everybody.
The man, the myth, the legend, Joey Gold Eagle.
How you doing?
Good.
And the new 300 sub plus guy himself, Prairie Prospecting. Look
Howdy,
at him.
folks.
Hey.
Look at him. He has no beard. He looks different. He looks completely different. So here we go. We've got our special guest tonight, Mr. Bryan Wilder. There you go. Mr. Bryan Wilder from Bering Sea Gold.
Thanks
How's
for
it
coming,
going?
Brian.
Thank you for joining Red Dirt Nation. We appreciate you coming up, man.
There he is. Thanks a lot for coming up.
Welcome, friend. Welcome.
We got 37 people in the chat. We've got all kinds of questions for you, Brian, and I'm sure the chat's going to chime in.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Chat's just popping off. There's all kinds of people here. We got Autism Magnet Fishing Mary's here. The Empty Pan. Your friend as well, Brian. Ed Flash Your Pan is here.
Ed, what's going on?
Milwaukee Matt.
WA Fishing Adventures, Adam Wise, Pitbull Prospecting.
Free Spirit, they chimed in. They need a wrench if you get a chance. I think they're on your channel, Travis.
David Alfonsetti, welcome.
Troubled One, thanks for coming in. All right,
So, yeah.
man, lots of people in the house.
Well,
So, how's Brian?
Good. Just waiting for winter to be over and can't wait to get back out there. We'll do some dredging and some prospecting. But where I am in Northeast, there's still ice in the rivers. It's still pretty nasty up there. We just got another couple inches at least up in Maine. There's another couple inches last night. So winter's not over yet.
Where are you right now there, Brian? Are you in Alaska or?
No, I was up in Maine last week or two. I got some property up there that I'm trying to work on, just raw land, and just trying to build some roads. And I about 40 acres, and I was up there doing a maple syrup for the first time, so that was fun. So I tapped a whole bunch of maple trees, and I just finished it off tonight. Made only like a quart. It took like 6 gallons of sap, and only made like a quart of syrup, but it was fun. But yeah, I just did all that, and then I just got back to Mass last night. So I'm here just to grab a mini excavator, and then I'm going to go back up to Maine and start making some roads. And I got to clear a couple spots out for some connexes and stuff. Just a little fun area that I like. I'm going to have up there. I'm going to kind of make like a campsite. I got a really nice brook, like 900 yards on this brook, and then 2 other small brooks. And there's a little bit of gold up there, not a lot. There's some flower gold, enough to make it fun. So. Well, some people come out, make some campgrounds. Maybe there's a lot of gold in the area. So, well, within an hour ride of where I am, there's some good gold streams. So, I'll just make a little campsite, a little place to hang out, have fun with friends, and
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's private ground then?
Yeah, about 40 acres. So that's my own.
Okay.
Yeah. But right now it's just raw wood. So I got a sawmill that I just picked up. So. I'm going to cut down some trees and sawmill my own lumber, make a couple cabins with garage and stuff, and
a couple of outhouses.
Yeah,
the important things.
Yeah. Just for fun, just for fun, just hanging out, just having a good time.
Cool.
But in the summertime, I got to go to work, so I'll have to put that stuff on pause. So I'm trying to do as much as I can right now, and as soon as the weather's good up in Nome. Hopefully, I'll be going back up to Nome, but that usually doesn't start till like June 15th. Yeah, up there, there's the ice is still around till about June 15th. It doesn't blow out.
Oh wow!
Yeah. But before that, I do a bunch of mining up in New England. I used to go up to Arizona until about April, but this year I didn't go because I got that new land up in Maine. So I've been working on that. But normally I go to Arizona, do prospecting down there, just do dry washing. There's a couple of the streams down there, like in Stanton, Arizona. They flow sometimes. I got to dredge in Stanton a couple of times, right off Rich Hill too. And
ooh.
Yeah, one of the times I actually got to go on the top of the Rich Hill. There's a guy I know up there at Toby. He works on top of that hill. He works in actually right below where there's an avalanche, and he works right below. It's called the Devil's Nest, right below on Rich Hill. But he has all the keys to get up top. So he took me up top once, and it was really cool up there where they originally worked in 1850 or whatever it was. It was like
cool.
10-foot high stacked walls of the Chinese. Like they turned up every rock up there. And it was up there. Yeah, he found a bunch of little nuggets. I got a couple of videos on it, but he found a 9-grammer when we were up there, and then a couple little dinks and stuff. But yeah, in the wintertime, I usually go to Arizona, but I didn't this year. But I'll do some dry washing there, mostly metal detects, because it's that time of year. It's usually it rains a couple times, and you can't dry wash too much, like in early spring or very late winter. It usually gets a little bit of rain, so that kind of ruins dry washing. So I'll just take the gold monster up there and mess around.
Okay, well, here's a question for you. What do you like better, sluicing or, well, of course, dredging, but sluicing or dry washing?
Oh, man, I don't think I've actually just sluiced before, to tell you the truth. I don't really like dry washing either. I don't mind metal detecting. I'm not a big metal detector. I just usually go to Arizona just to hang out. Usually go to group outings and, just meet some friends and go out, run the ATVs, go ride and do some metal detecting. I'm not like a big desert prospector because that's not my thing. I'm a water guy. So, but I'll do some dry washing. I don't own one, so I just usually hang out with some friends that have some.
Oh, okay.
But I met Dash and Wade. Bill Southern was out there. Jim Hamilton, one of my buddies from Amherst, was out there. We go prospecting. I met a lot of people from Arizona, and we'll just go out and kind of have fun out there.
Nice.
Up there in Nome, when the season opens, we just say June 15th, like you said before.
Yeah.
Does the tourist industry explode? Do you find a lot of people panning on the beach and stuff like that?
Somewhat. There's a lot of people that come in the spring. Definitely for all the prospecting. There's a lot of construction going on there too. Like they've been working on the airports and stuff. So there's a lot of construction people that go up in the summer and work in Nome. And there's a lot of other industries up there. Some mines like way back. And the town definitely comes, probably doubles in size like around April or so.
Besides what we see on the on the Bering Sea, the north, like Vern's operation and all the rest of them on the show, is there, how many would you say are out there but not on the show? Amateurs just trying to find, go up there and buy something and go diving.
The last few years it's been a little bit slower. I would say on any given day, probably 20 active people who actually go out and dredge regularly. And there's maybe 5 or 6 that are on the show.
Wow. All right.
But maybe 25. It's a lot of the small guys can't really do it anymore because it's all the shallow gold that's in like below 20 feet, or probably more like below 30 feet now is it's pretty hard to find. You can't really sustain and make a living under 30 feet anymore. I mean, some do. Some who have a lot of experience and know where to look. No one gives up their location exactly, coordinates where you are.
Right.
So some of the guys have been there for years. They're still getting some good gold at 30. But the next big move is 40 feet, which Vernon did the last couple of years. He got the nitrox and he got to score 40 feet. And Vernon's like been killing it. And the only other people that kind of go deeper are just the crawlers. So like a crawler is like kind of like an excavator track kind of thing, and it's like just like a robot pretty much. It just crawls and on the bottom of the ocean, and it has the dredge mounted to the front of it, and they use remote control hydraulic lines from the surface and just kind of go around looking at cameras. So they don't have a diver on the other end. Because 40 feet is really dangerous. Anything 40, 50 feet, there's a whole bunch of, things that can happen as far as like nitrogen buildup in your system. So that's why I use nitrox. And nitrox actually changes the air that you breathe. So you're breathing a lot more oxygen, like 32% oxygen, 28, 32. And, that helps you be able to stay on the bottom longer. So with nitrox, you can stay roughly safely, like we were doing 3 hours and 20 minutes, I think it was, and then you had to come up and then spend about 10 minutes, about 10 feet down. So about 3 hours, 3.5 hours is pretty max. That's doing it safely. You could probably do it for 4, but then you start getting dangerous.
Right.
And especially if you do it day after day after day. Like if you do it once or twice, you could probably stay on maybe 4 hours. But these guys are doing it, every 4 or 5 hours. Like they would go down 3.5 hours and another dive, and then they'll go back down and switch back and forth. So
there's a couple of. Well, I was an underwater welder for 10 years, so I know all the dive tables, and Joe's a scuba diver, so
yeah.
So we, the old safety stop at 10 or 20 feet, or I've done the recompression chamber, I've done the heliox even, so
yeah. But under 32 feet, you could probably you can spend most of the day, like hours, 6 hours, 7, like. But you've got to be careful with that too. You still build up nitrogen if you do it day after day. So you got to still, even below 32 feet, you want to be careful.
So we got a question from Gold Hunter 77. He wonders how far out to sea until the gold dies off.
What's that?
Gold Hunter 77 is wondering how far out to sea until the gold dies off.
How far can you see?
No. It's like how far out before, let's say from shore out 200 yards. After 200 yards, does it just get too deep, or is it just the gold peters out?
No, I mean there's guys that are out there with crawlers like a couple miles offshore getting. Those guys don't talk, so. But the rumor has it they're making a killing out there, but it's all claims, so you need permission to be on the claims. So. Yeah, I mean, the gold's, it's hard. The beach is a hard place to find gold because it's real patchy and spotty. You can find like 30, 40 colors in every pen, but it's not enough to make like a day's wage or nothing. But you can go on the beach for fun, but, there's hot spots and cold spots. You can't it'll take you days to find a really good spot on the beach to be able to mine it and make like 6-7 grams a day. But it takes it's just gold's not everywhere. It's spotty just like anywhere else. And then same thing when you get into the ocean. It's spotty. The whole ocean there's not gold everywhere. It's kind of like in a river. You got your hot spots, and you got to prospect. Sometimes it'll take you 2-3 days, even in the ocean, to find a good spot. And what you do, you mark it on your GPS, and then you work it. And when you're in the ocean, you just work what you can see. If you see gold falling into the nozzle, you're on a good spot. You'll get I think we figured it out once. One time we were getting like 2 ounces an hour.
Wow.
So you can just see the gold pouring in, and that's what you try to follow and eat, because sometimes you can only be out there like 6 hours because the weather in Nome is really bad. So you only get like little dashes to go out and mine and then go back because of the storm, or usually something breaks. You're in the ocean, so things always break every day. Just with all the systems, there's something bound to break. So if you're on good weather and something breaks, you got to go in and come back, and then by the time you get something fixed, it's bad weather and you can't go out for 3, 4, 5 days, and then it's tough. And then there's not gold everywhere out there for sure. It's all hot spots, and that's what makes you a successful diver, is know how to follow it. And I mean, it can go north, south, east, west. There's no rhyme or reason for it up there. So it's you just gotta know when to move, and like you don't want to be dredging down 4 or 5 feet before you hit the clay layer where a lot of the gold is. You want to maximize your time, so you want to only if dirt's more than say 1.5 feet, 2 feet, if you're dredging through that, if it's really good gold, you'll follow it. But if you're only getting a half an ounce an hour and you got to dig through all this overburden to get it, you're better off just trying to walk around and try to find better gold. But
the claims that they have out there in the Bering Sea, how does that actually work? Do you get to work that claim just for one season?
No, so I'll use Vernon as an example. So Vernon bought his claim off a state auction, I believe it was. And
Claim 54?
Claim 56 is what Vernon owns. I think it's a square mile, pretty close to it. It's a really big claim. And what was it, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, the state auctioned off a bunch of claims up there, and Vernon bid on a lot of. He actually won a lot of them, and then he sold a couple to pay for claim 56. But that was one of the best things he's ever did, because he already made his money back the first 4 times he went out dredging. He made.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's Vernon's claim, but it's not like a regular claim. It's a lease. So you lease it from the state. It's your claim. He's in charge of it. He can allow up to I think 10 people on, 6 to 10 people, something like that. So if you want to go mining, you can you would contact the mining owner, the claim owner, and then if he trusts you. That's a big thing, is if someone's got to trust you to be on their claim, because they're not going to watch you clean up all the time, or they're not going to see your box every day. So you got to really trust people that come onto your claim in order to pay you a royalty, which is usually 15%. So if I want to go work on Vernon's claim, I'll say, hey Vernon, can I got to bring up the dredge? Can I go work? And we would make an agreement. I'll probably say 15%, and then for every 100 ounces I get, I'll give him 15 ounces. But trust is a big thing. He's got to trust me to pay him. He doesn't want some random person off the internet going and
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it works. And then I don't know. I don't know if he has a claim forever, or if it's if it goes back up for lease again every 10 years. I'm not sure how that works. Vernon will be on next week. He can tell you better about that.
Yeah, we'll ask him that question for sure.
Yeah. But as of right now, he's it's his claim for sure. It might be for 10 years, and then it re-auctions, and then he might just get to reclaim it or something for a fee or something. I'm not. You know better.
All right. Well, I've been watching you for a long time, and is Roger still out on the beach?
Oh, I did not see Roger last year. I think he was, though. I think I seen some posts. He was up there, but maybe only for a few weeks. But yeah, he was. He lost his house in that big storm, and then after that storm, he had a tent on the beach for a little while, and he just went right back to mining like nothing ever happened. He actually fell in the ocean and got trapped. And
oh no!
Yeah, well, when that huge storm came, it was in the middle of the night, and a big wave hit his house, collapsed his house. he fell down into the bank because like the ocean washed away like 10 or 12 feet of the whole tundra where his house was sitting on top, and where there was land. So he got out of his house, and where there was like 50 feet of beach before.
Oh no!
It was like a 4-foot drop, and he didn't know. It was all dark and fell in the ocean. Yeah, it was a big old story, but he was lucky to make it out of
Oh
it.
yeah. Well, I've always wondered if he was still out there, because he was, when you were, touring his little shack, and him and his, I don't know if it was his wife or his girlfriend. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was his wife, I believe. Yeah.
Wife, and they had their little areas, and he was like, "Oh, I got windows. I'm gonna replace." I always thought that was just like, a great video. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool just because it was so genuine. It was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't playing or anything. I saw him, and I'm like, hey, I wonder who this guy is, if he's friendly. I was like, he's either going to be friendly or going to shoot me, one of the two. So I went up, I'm like, hey, you mind if I do a video? And he's like, oh no, come on, I'll show you around. I'm like, oh, cool. So just made a video.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that when you were out there in your little red convertible with the roof cut off and
That's
beach
Brandon.
mining. That was some of my favorite. The other one that was my favorite when you were on Dredge 6. You were picking through the maps.
Yeah, me and Gary went on that trying to find like on it was crappy weather. We just get bored, so we're like, let's go see if we can find some gold on that thing.
Oh yeah.
But we asked the guy that owned it. That's on a claim, so you want to make sure. So I got the permission from the guy to go on there and mine it and stuff.
Right, we got a question from chat. David Nelson wants to know how many people live in Nome year round.
I'm not really sure. I would say 2,000 or 3,000 people probably. It gets wild in the winter because there's a lot of racing. That's where the Iditarod ends. So that week there's like probably 10,000 people in Nome.
I bet.
Then they have a lot of snowmobile races. The Iron Dog. They got the Cannonball Run. They got a lot of activities and like a lot of people go. That's the only airport around like where you can land like an Alaskan airline jet. So that's the only place like for hundreds or maybe even 1,000 miles where you can. Well, Kotzebue is the place you can land a jet to, but that's the only place around for quite a while where you can actually land a jet, and that's the only way to get to Nome is either by boat or by jet. There's no roads to Nome, so.
Wow.
But yeah, I'd say maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people year round. Summertime's probably more like 5, maybe more. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
That's more than I would have thought lived there in the winter for sure.
Maybe that's a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit less, but around there,
Still,
there's a lot of like infrastructure work going on. A lot of airport stuff. There's a small military base. There's a lot of crabbing going on. A lot of fishermen. Stuff like that.
That's probably a whole nother
So Brian,
another story about the fishermen, huh?
Yeah, so I stayed at Sean's place where all the camera guys stayed the last like 3 years, and those guys they make the TV show Deadliest Catch. So I heard all the stories about Deadliest Catch and everything. All those guys, camera guys, are on the boat. So yeah, the last couple of years I've been working for the film crew, so I get to hear all the stories. Like all those guys are on. So yeah, the thing about the camera guys, it's not like the camera guy is only for Bering Sea Gold and that's it. These camera guys go they'll do a few weeks of Bering Sea Gold. There's a lot of guys that just came off of Gold Rush Whitewater. One of the guys was on Dave Curran's show, so I get to hear all the stories, like what's real, what's not real,
Oh, that's cool. So you get all the skinny.
Yeah, one of the guys just came off the show, Sylvester Stallone's and his daughters. I forget the name of the show, but he was just on that show like a week before he came to Nome to do this show. Another guy was Dr. Phil's camera guy. So you get to hear like all this cool stories from all the camera because we're all staying in this one man right on Sean's place. Sean has like a little motel, like a little man camp, and it's got like 15 rooms, and that's where all the camera guys stay and all that. So after work we all talk and hang out and have fun and stuff.
Let the party begin, huh?
Yeah. There's a foosball table, so.
Nope.
Fun.
And there's never been any gold bet on any games.
No. We did. If you lost the game, you had to drink a shot of apple pucker, that green liquor stuff.
Oh.
Brian, what got you interested in gold mining?
Oh man, it's kind of weird. So I've been in Massachusetts. There's no gold anywhere around here. But it was whenever Gold Rush very first started, because it was a little bit before. So I was like a really big hunter all the time, so I was always hunting and fishing. I've always been outside doing outside stuff. And there was like this little creek that I always crossed when I went hunting, and my tree stand was above it. So I'd see this little creek and always wonder if there was like, just thought about gold and stuff. I didn't know anything about gold mine. I didn't have any friends or anything. Here in Massachusetts, there's no gold here,
Yeah.
But one day I just went on the Amazon, got a gold pan, and just learned how to do it, and it was kind of fun. And then that's when I started seeing the Gold Rush was about to start. It was like, so it was right at that time, like right before Gold Rush started, I started seeing commercials where I'm like, this is cool, there's going to be a gold show. So I started learning more about it, and then I wanted to go a place where there was gold, which was the closest place to me was New Hampshire. Oh, lost my camera. You still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was New Hampshire was the closest place where you can find gold where I am. A place in Bath, New Hampshire called the Lambs campground there and stuff. So if you stay at the campground, you can prospect. So I went up there, and then sure enough, I found some gold. And as soon as you find gold for the first time, that's it.
Oh yeah, you're screwed.
So then, I went right to dredge. The campground guy had a dredge for sale, and I'm like, hey, this is fun, with a dredge, I can get way more gold. So it was an old crap. The same dredge I actually have now. It's the same one. I bought new floats for it and a new motor, but actually the sluice box is the same one I got like 12 years ago, whenever it was I started.
Oh, so you went big right away then?
Yeah. Like I said, I never really sluiced too much. I panned the first couple of times, and then actually right after panning, I did buy the Keen A51 sluice, but I never used it as a sluice because I bought it like in the winter and I had some time. So then I'm like, I'm going to turn this thing into like a little 3-inch dredge. So I just made a homemade like stand for it, and then I put like a Tupperware tub on the top and made like a high banker kind of thing out of it. But then once I got the high banker thing out of it, I'm like, well, I don't want to shovel into it. So then I just made it so I could dredge like a little 3-inch suction nozzle, and then it went into the hopper and make grizzly bars so the rocks would go down.
Yeah.
So that was actually, I bought a pan, then I bought that sluice and made it into a 3-inch dredge. So, and then once I got the 3-inch dredge is when I went up to New Hampshire, and then I saw that they had like a real dredge with floats. I'm like, I want that thing. So then,
and
that's a big in New Hampshire is 4-inch dredge, and same thing in Maine. So where I dredge, you can't go any bigger than a 4-inch. So I use that for like up until I started going to Nome, I started going to Chicken, Alaska first, and was in 6 inches, and then I used the 8-inch up in Chicken, and then that's when I started working on Vernon, and Vernon's got an 8-inch, and then I went back to Chicken before I went to Nome for the next year, and was using a 10-inch, and I used the 10-inch up in Chicken for me and Gary went back up to Chicken because you can start dredging in Chicken in early June, and we can't start dredging in Nome until like late May or late June 15th, June 20th, stuff like that. So we went there first and started dredging there, and then in the meantime, I just started doing YouTube just for fun. I never did YouTube like serious or trying to make it a serious thing. I just I just took the camera along, and if I felt like filming stuff, I filmed stuff. Like 90% of the stuff I filmed, I didn't catch because I love dredging and I dredge, And if something happens, I'll grab the camera, film a little bit, but I want to get back in the water. I don't want to sit there and like film and make all this. People are like, why don't you close up with the gold? Why don't you do it more like this guy or this YouTuber or this guy? They're be so much better. It's like that's not my thing. I'm a dredger, I'm not a camera guy.
Right.
Pretending to be a gold miner. I'm a gold miner, pretending to be a camera guy.
All of us.
The videos I miss a lot of middle sections. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to a story, and sometimes I forget the middle, sometimes I forget the end, sometimes I forget the beginning. But I just make a stupid video, and if you want to watch, cool. But I'm not into it. Like I don't spend a ton of time doing my videos. I just throw them together and then just film what I film and just make. That's what it is.
Nice.
But I started that like 10 years ago, and I still make videos here and there, but like I said, they're time consuming. So
all of us are in the same boat. We all are more into panning and finding gold than videoing, right? So we get it. Rock Butcher, our local geologist, has a question for you. Do any deep drought, industrial vessels mine farther offshore and no. He's never hear reference to them on the show.
Yeah, yeah. There's some big crawlers that go out in Nome, further out, like a couple miles out. There's a lot of big corporations. There was a new one last year, like Miss May or something. They had really big equipment. There's a couple of excavator dredges that are out there now. But those corporations, they don't know what they're doing. Like they get like million, like Miss Maley, I think it was last year. There was a gigantic ship. It was, I don't know, 150 feet long. Had this massive, like probably $300,000 or $400,000 excavator on it. But they only have this small little bucket that's going down, getting a scoop. I mean, they have way too much equipment, millions and millions of dollars of equipment, and they have zero experience. None of them are probably gold miners. Has no idea what. It was just a company that threw probably $5 million at this other company to go mine gold in Nome. You can't just go to Nome. Like, you need the knowledge,
right?
And it's not normal gold mining. It's not like you're out in, offshore or inland mining where you're in the ocean and there's waves, there's currents, you don't know it. There's no, you can't tell where you are. You can't see the bottom, so you don't know where there's a boulder field or where the old river channel is unless you have experience. By sending divers down there, reporting back to you, taking GPS notes, using side scan radar, and all that stuff takes years of building up a database. And once you get that, no one shares it because they spent millions to get that database.
Oh yeah.
So the big companies that go out there think they can just get money or get gold. It doesn't work like that. You can't.
Yeah, they see it on TV.
Yeah. It, honestly, the best thing, the way to go is a diver that's dove the whole area, knows where the gold is, has experience, and knows how to follow it is a big thing. Knows how to be safe, knows when to give up a spot and go look for another one.
Yeah.
You need an experienced not a diver. Like anyone can go jump off a boat and dive. Like there's a lot of people that will want to work for Vernon and they're like, I'm a commercial diver and I'm on this side. It's great that you can dive, but you need to be a gold miner to work on, to be on the ship. Like,
right.
We need gold miner, like someone who knows gold and knows how to find it. Like anyone can throw on a mat. Like that's not even a question whether you're certified scuba. Like no one's certified up there. They don't even ask that question. Like diving's like you don't wear fins. You just put on a mask and dive overboard and go grab a nozzle and suck up dirt. You're like, so you need to know how to follow gold. Is like if you ever want to go to Nome, like you don't want to tout that you're like this big diver guy because they always make fun of those kind of people. Like commercial divers, they're like it's a good job to have, but like that's not a qualification to be a gold miner in Nome.
So we got a question for you. What productions have you worked on?
What's that? What?
We have a question from Dean Madley. What productions have you worked on?
Productions like
shows.
Shows.
I think he's talking gold shows or other shows.
I've only worked on Bering Sea Gold for like actual show where they're filming, but yeah, I've been. Fred Hurt called me. I think it was the year that Casey Morgan left the show. So just out of the blue, I have no idea how or why he got my number, but I got a phone call, and I usually don't answer the phone, but I answered it this time, and then I heard a voice on the other end that was like real familiar, but I didn't know who it was, and then he kept talking a little bit, and like, this is familiar. Who is this? And then finally he's like, well, this is Fred Hurt. I'm like, oh, Fred, I knew it was you. That's right. And then we just talked for like a half an hour, and we didn't talk about TV or gold mining, and we're talking about like he was from New York, and I go hunting up in New York, so we're talking about New York for a while. And like a half an hour goes by, and he's like, oh, the reason why I asked you, I gave you this call is because I wanted you to come join my team this year. I'm like, cool, yeah, that'd be cool. So anyways, I went through the whole thing with Tim Dolby and everything, and that's a different kind of show. So they hire every cast member, and they pay every cast member. So you're working for that, that's your job. So it's a lot different than Bering Sea Gold because, like I said, on Bering Sea Gold, only the people, like the main characters, get paid, and then everyone else on the show doesn't get paid. So you're not really working for them. They film you, but if a camera guy asks you to do something, you don't have to do it. You can say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just gold mining today. You're not being paid by that. So that's what keeps Bering Sea Gold a lot more real because they're not paying you, so you can tell the camera guy to shove off. you know.
No.
But you got to play ball because I mean you're on a boat that's being filmed, so I mean you want to play ball, but you don't have to like do anything you really don't want to do. You know, they're not paying you, so that's what makes it better, I think, because it's more real, it's more honest. Like why would I go out of my way to like do this whole elaborate rigging thing when I'm not getting paid? There's no benefit, you know. I'm only getting paid when I go down and mine gold, so I want to go down and dredge up as much gold.
Right.
As I can.
Leave me alone. I want to go back. I want to get my butt back down there and start sucking up dirt.
Right. But I mean, you're being filmed, and it's fun being filmed and all that. So I mean, you play ball, but you don't go totally out of your way. I mean, if I was getting paid, yeah, I'd probably do whatever if they're giving me a good paycheck. But
right. So how long was a filming day?
So pretty much anytime we went out, so Vernon would call the camera guy, say, hey, good weather's coming up, say tomorrow 6 o'clock. It's all weather dependent. So there might be a window from 3 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning, and so whenever we go, we just call the camera. Well, Vernon would call the camera guy, say, hey, we're leaving at 3 a.m. The boat's leaving. You want to come? So
No.
Vernon to let him know when we're leaving. So sure enough, every time we went out, the camera guy would hop on. So if it was 3 o'clock in the morning, camera guy would be there, and then he just stays with us until we're done mining. It might be 2 or 3 days. Sometimes the camera guy will go in, get picked up at night, but a lot of the times, like a good camera guy stays with you for the 2 or 3 days. He'll sleep on the boat, stay on the boat. Not all camera guys, some stuff need to be back home, but a lot of the camera guys will stay out when you're out. So a camera guy would stay with us 2 or 3 days, and then whenever we go back, there's no Monday through Friday. That's not how this works. In Nome, it's all weather.
So the camera guys aren't a prima donna or anything.
No, it's different because if you work inland or if you work in a river, you can work anytime you want. So it's usually Monday through Friday because it's all the same, unless there's a big storm and the river rises or whatever. But when you're dealing with the ocean, number one's the wind and the waves. If the waves are too high, you can't go out, and the wind's pushing the boat around and ripping your anchors off. You can't go out. And when the wind kicks up and the ocean current kicks up, and then you can't even hold on. You're getting ripped off. Your spot.
And visibility goes to nothing.
You can't see anything. It's real dangerous, and so it's all when you're in the ocean. It's all 100% weather. You just go when the weather's good. So usually June, the whole month of June is usually really good. You'll get like probably 70% of all your mining done in June because you can go out almost every day. That's when the weather starts going from the ice to melting the ice and everything, and the visibility is usually good and the weather is usually really good. And then July you get maybe a couple of weeks in July you can go out, and then August is usually bad, storm after storm after storm, and sometimes you can't go out for 3 weeks in August. And then September usually lays back down. You'll get another couple of weeks in August where you're, and it's only like 2 or 3 day spurts. You can go out and then you got to come back in. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's different in the ocean because it's not like inland where you can just do a Monday through Friday or have shifts, and you just you just go when the weather's good when you can.
Wow.
So we have a question. Oh,
sorry. Go ahead. I forgot about you.
There. What's the biggest piece of gold you've found?
The biggest piece I found is actually I found it up in New England here. It's 9.6 grams. I actually got it right over
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, he's
Not gold porn. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
He's opening the.
This one came out of New Hampshire. This was the first nugget I found, and this one's 9.2.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't have a good camera, so it probably won't.
Oh no, we can see it.
Oh, you close enough, man.
That was my first big one. That was 9.2. That was right up that campground land in New Hampshire. It was pretty cool.
Now, what about under the Bering Sea? What's the biggest piece you pulled out of there?
So the gold in Nome is really small in the ocean because it just gets ground up by the ocean. So over the millions of years of the gold there, just there's always tides and currents and waves, and washes up on shore, and then a storm brings it back in the ocean and gets washed. So finding a big nugget in Nome is very, very rare. So last couple of years, Macaulay found a couple of good big ones. Chris Kelly, I was there when Chris Kelly found maybe a half ouncer before. But other than that, as soon as we started going up 40 feet, we started getting to much bigger gold. Not much bigger, say 3 grammers, 4 grammers, 5 grammers at the most. So probably the biggest one, I think, was maybe 4 or 5 grammer. It's just the ocean just grinds that gold up, so it's really rare to find a big one. But on land, they found one of the biggest gold nugget in Alaska was, or maybe it was one of the biggest ones at the time. But if you go to Wikipedia and look up the biggest gold nugget in Alaska, I think it brings you right to right across the street from Sean's place, like not even a quarter mile from where Sean's mine is.
Wow.
I forget how big it was. I looked it up the other day on Wikipedia, but it's right in Bonanza Gulch or Anvil Creek, right on Anvil Creek, right by Sean's house.
Hmm.
I think it was like 186 ounces or something.
Holy cow!
There's really big ones on land, but as soon as it hits the ocean, it's over.
It just gets ground up. Huh?
Yeah. Some people claim to find big ones in there. I don't know. They probably do, but it's really rare to find some big ones in the ocean. But the one we found it, and it's probably like 5 gram nugget. But we started getting a lot more 1 grammers and 2 grammers as soon as we started going like 42, 43 feet.
So, what's your scariest moment diving up in the Bering Sea Gold?
Well, a couple. Well, one wasn't really my scary. So the very first time I dove, it was actually there on TV. So I did my dive, and we're only in like 15 or 18 feet of water, and Vernon just took us out there just because there was 2 new divers. It was me and this kid named Kyle. He was a beach miner. He was a beach miner there for quite a while. He was a really experienced beach miner. But anyways, he wanted to try, going dredging. So Vernon took me and this kid Kyle out, and then I did my dive. And I was down just like a half an hour because Vernon just wanted to test us, see if we could dive and do our thing. So then I came up, and then right after me, Kyle went down, and somehow he didn't have his weight belt on right or whatever, but his weight belt kind of like fell off when he was down there. He was actually on his way back up after his dive, and his weight belt fell off somehow and then landed on his umbilical, ripped his mask off, and then I assume he kind of freaked out, didn't know where to go. He was all messed up, disoriented, and then the camera guy actually had to grab him and bring him to the surface, and that was all on TV. The camera guy was there filming the whole thing, and that was my first time out diving. I'm like, oh my god, like this huge thing. As a kid almost died. I'm like, what did I get myself into? Just watching all this, and that was scary. I wasn't sure if I was gonna, wanted to kind of go this route just because of that happened. But after that, I did it, and then diving at night's kind of scary, when it's pitch black and you're 30 feet down in the ocean and there's
nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing. And then I guess my scariest moment would be nighttime. It's pitch black. You got this flashlight on. Sometimes your flashlight goes out. It's pitch black. You can't see anything at all. It's just solid black 30 feet down in the ocean, A couple times I'd be down there dredging and it'd be just a big shadow that would go over you. Like, I hope that's not a killer whale, or a walrus or... I guess I didn't have too many emergency. One time, a lot of times, so you'll be out there and the boat's anchored up, so and you're anchored to the boat. So if the wind comes on, and especially Vernon's boat, it's kind of like tall and wide. So when the wind hits it, it kind of acts like a sail.
Right,
so
she moves around.
A big gust of wind comes and hits it. It will just slam that boat so hard and rip an anchor off, right? And then the whole boat will swing. Because when you're anchored, you're on like 200 feet of line because you got to put the anchor way out in order to get a good bite. So if you have 2 anchors out and you lose one, the whole boat will swing a couple hundred feet. And if you're on the hose, you're going for a ride with that boat, and there's no stopping it. It's a whole boat moving with the wind. So I'm on the bottom of the ocean, and then you'll see your umbilical. That's another thing. You have your umbilical coming from the top.
Right.
And that umbilical is separate from the hose. And once you start moving, you'll be getting dragged, and you can't see anything behind you because it's not like the Caribbean where you can see like 50 feet. I mean, you're lucky if you can see 2 or 3 feet. And then when you're getting dragged, it gets scary because you'll come into like a boulder field, or one time when I was getting dragged, I came across like some kind of wreckage. There was a whole bunch of metal down there. I don't know what it was. It was hard to see. I couldn't really see it. But then my umbilical, when I was getting dragged, kind of got wrapped around something, and I like had just enough like time to like kind of run up to it and grab it out of that metal stuff before, you know, because you're getting dragged. You can't do anything about it. So yeah, I don't know. It just gets scary because I mean, if you got wrapped up, it would just rip your mask off, and then you're at the bottom of the ocean in the middle of dark, and when it's pitch black, you have no idea which way's up. You can't see bubbles. You know,
Right.
Just like go in a closet, close the door, and then put 30 feet of water on you and try to get you out. You know, and you have
Right.
no air.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, a lot of little stuff like that was scary. I ran out of air a lot of times. Not completely out, but like the compressor will stop, and then you only have like a little bit of time to get to the top.
You get that regulator flutter that.
Oh yeah, that was all the time. That's part of the show.
Well, you know what I mean. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When that air's starting to dwindle, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys wear bailout bottles?
Well, there's no place to fill them in Nome, and you can't bring them on the airplane. So there's no scuba place in Nome. There's not even a gold shop in Nome. You can't buy. The hardware store has a couple pans, but you can't. The hardware store has some hoses, some small stuff, but there's no prospecting store in Nome. You got to bring everything. There's no.
Okay, so there's no dive shop or nothing.
There's no dive shop, no scuba shop, no mining
fire
store.
Department.
Yeah, maybe, but they don't want to be responsible for all that kind of.
Okay, well, yeah, that's fair. I'm
assuming, but yeah.
But, divers can get their bottles filled here in down lower 48 at you show your dive card at a fire station, and they'll blow up your bottle for you as long as it's in in spec.
Right. Yeah, maybe they would. I never even thought about that, but I mean, yeah, if you have a lot of money to bring your own dive, tank up and a way to blow it up, and I'm sure if you have a ton of money to spend, you could.
Right.
Well, on Vernon's boat, instead of a bailout, so Vernon had actually two ways to get it. You had your regular mask,
right,
and then we had like just like one of those donut nail gun air compressors. So his backup was one of those, and then there was a whole nother line coming up that, and a regulator that was on your part of your umbilical. So if something did happen to your regular, you have to take your whole full face off, so which means you can't see, you'll be blind, but at least you have another regulator right here. And so long as your tender up top knows what's going on, because once you take your mask off, you lose communication. You can't talk.
Right.
So you have to have a tender that's smart enough to realize, this guy's in danger. He just lost his mask. I got to make sure that this donut air compressor is plugged in, and that the generator has fuel in it to keep it going.
Do you guys run like a pneumo?
What's
a
that?
pneumo fathometer, just a depth, or do the redneck style, throw the rock in with a tape measure kind of thing?
To measure the depth?
Yeah.
We have a camera. So every time before we started dredging, we had this little thing we called the fish, and it's just like one of those bass cameras. It's like a camera that looks like a fish that fishermen use to look at the fish on. So we would throw that overboard so we could take a look at the bottom, because if it's all sand, you don't want to go down there. So on that thing, we had it marked. Well, we usually did it, and Vernon showed us how to do fathoms, which is like an arm's length, So
right.
Vernon liked using fathoms, so we would count out like the fathoms of how far that fish was down when we came up, so we know how deep we were.
So do you hunt anything else other than gold, or are you interested in rock hounding, or what other kind of treasure do you look for?
No, I just do. I just love dredging. Just go dredging. It'll be cool. I'm open for it. I never really. I'm in the Northeast, and we don't really have anything too cool to hunt. There's some amethyst in New Hampshire. There's some watermelon tourmaline in Maine that I would love to go try to find one day. I don't know where it is, or I don't know anyone that does it, so I would love to try. But I just like dredging. I just like the whole thing because I'll bring my camper out. I'll stay out for a week or two. Usually go with a couple buddies. We hang out and set up camp and go ATV riding, dirt bike riding, dredging, shooting.
Nice.
Just having
All right.
fun.
So where's the strangest place you've either found treasure or gold?
One time in Nome, I found a horn to some kind of animal.
Oh wow.
That was
That's
30
cool.
feet. It was like a couple feet in the overburden and dredging. I found a horn and maybe to one of those musk ox or something.
Oh,
No, I really haven't found. One time I was dredging in a river and I was a couple feet down too, and then I found this wader boot and it was like, but it was full like sand and stuff. But I wasn't sure if there was a foot in it or not. I was like, oh, geez, I'm gonna dredge up a dead guy, So kept dredging, found out, it was all full of sand or whatever. But that was kind of weird. It was just we must have lost the waders. No, I haven't really found anything weird too much that I can think of right offhand.
What was your largest clean out on the Bering Sea?
That was not last summer, but the summer before on Vernon's boat. So 2 summers ago, they didn't film, and Vernon wanted a little bit of time off, so he stayed at home with. He has a couple of brand new granddaughters, and he's got a lot of family stuff. So he's usually always, spending the whole summer in Nome. But 2 summers ago, they took the summer off from filming, so Vernon stayed at home for a little bit. So he asked me to come up and kind of pilot his boat for him, anchor and get the divers all in the water and tender and everything, kind of run the boat. So that was the biggest clean out I've ever done. Was when we were out there, we did 33 ounces, which had a YouTube channel because so that's what I was getting at. Since they weren't filming for the show, I was able to GoPro it and I filmed, so my YouTube channel, I did 3 or 4 videos of what we do in the ocean when the camera crew was there. I was able to film it. So I think we did one was like 28 ounces, next one was like 31 ounces, and the next one was 33 ounces.
Wow.
And that was all. That was every
Nice.
week. So every week we're doing 20 to 30 ounces.
holy cow.
But like I said, you can't do that all the time because the weather comes and it just.
So we got Nick True asking you a question. Do you own an OTS Guardian and can you use it with a T80 compressor? He says Kayla Johansson says you can.
I don't have. I just have like on my little dredge that has. I have a T80 on my 4-inch dredge, but that's only driven by a 6.5 horsepower Honda, and I think it only puts out like 30 psi, 40 psi. So those Guardians, I think they need 100 psi to operate correctly. So my T80, maybe mine's just old and lame, but I don't know a brand new T80 what they put out for pressure, but I don't think mine can run a Guardian because Guardian they're made for scuba. So you got your high scuba tank, which is 2,000 pounds and gets reduced, I think, to what, 100. You guys would know better being divers. Like 130 is what comes out of your second stage.
Yes. Well, it depends on your depth.
Yeah, so Guardians are kind of made to run at between 100 and 130 psi. A T80, mine doesn't go much more than 30 psi. I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah, right
I
around.
never tried it, so I don't know for sure. But I on my little dredge, I just have a mouth. I hate full face masks, even in Nome. Like I don't like it at all. I like having a separate mask and separate air because, like I said, if you lose your air, at least you can still see. Or if you lose your sight through your mask somehow, you can still breathe. So I like having 2.
So you're just using pretty much a hookah.
Yeah. When I'm dredging, like when I'm dredging, on my 4-inch. Yeah, I just have a regular regulator and then just a mask.
Okay.
I really hate full face mask. I hate breathing like without. I just like having a regulator to breathe because, like I said, if you lose your air, then you lose your sight too because you got to rip your mask off.
Right. Well, I dove a Superlight 17 for 10 years, so.
Yeah.
And you know what those are.
No, actually, I don't.
Oh, it's the yellow, welding helmet, commercial diver.
Oh, okay.
I love that thing. That was just
Yeah, I like having the regulator, but in Gnome you need the full face because you need communication. So
you're
having
right.
the communication is way more important than
Comms are very, very important.
right. But like when I was up in Chicken, we used just regulator. I brought my own because I think they had full face, and I don't like if it's not a dangerous situation like in a river or you don't need communication, then I always go for just a separate regulator and separate mask. That's just my style.
Brian,
That's what I like.
have you heard if somebody found a grenade up there while they're dredging?
Where up in Nome?
Yeah, I don't know. Gold
No,
Hunter said he heard somebody found a grenade.
I didn't hear anything like that. No.
No. How about have you ever sucked up a fish while you're dredging?
Not in Nome. I mean, so one time I was when I was gravity dredging. So there was this fish. I kept on going, and the nozzle was on its own. It would go up the nozzle, go through the hose, come around back, and swim and go back in. It was a same fish because it had the same mark on its fin. I'm like, what is this thing doing? It was doing it on its own. It was like the weirdest
So it was
fish.
riding the wave.
Yeah, it would like get in the nozzle and then go for a ride and then swim back up and then go back in. What is this stupid thing? Like a dolphin having fun.
Wow.
That's funny.
But
'Cause
I mean,
I've had-
fish are
I've had a
smart.
few trout swim up my sluice.
Yeah, I've had that before. I had fish swim up there into the sluice before. I think Emily had a seal sit on her boat, sit up on her sluice box before. It wasn't running. It was like they're out anchored up or something. And I think I saw a video where there was a seal in her sluice box.
Partridge family.
So
Well, my mic.
so are the
Mr. Lodak's been asking for a bit if you had
Oh,
the
you know
chance
what?
to check your mic.
Because I'm on StreamYard, I have a mic here, but I think I'm using my laptop mic and not my external.
Oh.
But I'm used to Zoom where I can change all that on StreamYard. I don't know how.
If you go down to settings,
Oh, settings. Okay, there you go.
yeah, and then you'll see audio there.
How's that? Now I'm on my Yeti.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Sorry,
So-
my bad. I was using the wrong mic.
No, you're fine. So what about the wildlife? You know, like the seals and the walruses. Do they kind of mess with you at all?
When I was dredging, I've never actually seen one. Gary did. He said it was pretty scary because like there's very little visibility, so you can't really see what's going on. And Gary said he was down there and he just looked to his right for a second, and there was like this huge eyeball, and I guess there was a walrus right next to him, just like checking him out. But I've never seen one when I was dredging. I was always nervous with the seals because the seals, you know, they're playful and curious. So I was always nervous they would get into my umbilical and like rip my mask off. But no, I actually haven't seen any when I was dredging. But they are up there. You'll see seals and those white whales, belugas. There's a lot of them up there. I've never seen a killer whale, but they come by every now and then.
Nice.
Salmon
Cool.
shark. There's salmon sharks up there.
Salmon sharks.
Yeah, they're big sharks, but I don't think they got teeth. I think it might be. I don't know much about salmon, but
Is it nom nom on the fish?
yeah, big sharks. But they're real slow because the water's so cold, so they're kind of slow moving.
All right,
Kinda like
we're gonna take a quick break here. We got a couple little commercials. For all you people in chat, we're gonna grab some drinks and take a quick little break. We'll be right back.
Do a couple channels on the router.
There you go.
All right. Station identification.
All right.
Brought to you by Red Bull Nation. Yeah, we're going to be interviewing Vernon next week. Ryan's buddy, his boss.
Yep, the big guy,
The
big
guy.
boss, big boss.
The big boss.
How was it working on the Wild Ranger?
It was cool. It was fun. It was one heck of an experience for sure. Vernon's really cool because he spends the money on the equipment, so he's got the right boat. I mean, that boat's probably the best one as far as being divers because it can easily hold what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 6 places to sleep for people, to lay down, take a nap when you're out there. Not many other dredges out there have that. It's like a little kitchen. It's a big boat, there's plenty of room in there to like spread out and relax and take it easy when you're not diving. A lot of the other boats are really, really cramped. As far as everything, if something breaks, like Vernon's really good about spending the money and getting the right equipment and making sure you have what you need. So
that's
really good
an
with that.
amazing. That's an amazing boss. That's
a lot
not
of the
afraid.
other guys, like if their water heater goes out, it's kind of tough luck, or they want you to chip in to buy it, or they don't have enough money to buy it, and a lot of the other people, are stinging, or they just don't have the right equipment, or it's all just bubblegum together. And for some people, that's all they can do. But I was just thankful to being on that boat and Vernon's there because Vernon forks it over for the stuff that's needed. So, but a lot of the other boats, they do good too. It's just
So what advice would you give? Like maybe a newbie who wanted to break out into, let's say, the Bering Sea and go diving, let's say for Vernon or any of those other guys, what advice would you give them, and how, who, what, where, when, and how? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The first thing would be like a lot of these guys, they'll get like a message after message, through Facebook messengers or whatever, and just it's going to be hard to try to get on the spot just by messaging people. They don't know who you are and stuff. So your best bet, it doesn't take much to get to know them. It's just, like I said, there's an airport right there. For $500, you can hop on a plane and get to know them. Just go there, go to the dock, meet people. They want to see you face to face. They want to make sure you're not a weirdo or something, or they want to ask you questions if you can dredge, and they might show you around on the boat, and then they'll get to know you a little bit better. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, it's a small investment, $500 to just go there and talk to people. They're all friendly, like all these dredgers. They're looking really hard for divers and dredgers to go, but you just can't hire some weird guy off the internet. You don't know who they are, and so I mean, if you're really serious, definitely just hop on a plane, go up there. There's some motels to stay at. It's expensive. The motels are like $300 a night or something like that. But
wow, really?
Yeah, it's like $200 or $300, something like that. And they're really bad places to stay.
Can you camp on the beach?
Another thing is you can go to Nome Posts, and Nome Post is like the biggest thing in Nome that people use to like barter or trade. You can go on there and just say, "Hey, I'm coming up to Nome." I see it all the time. People will be like, "Hey, I'm coming up to Nome, so I'm gonna have a room for rent. I'm gonna be up there for a week." And there's lots of people who rent you, part of their house, or they got a spare room or something, and you can get there cheap.
So
And
it's
the same
kind of
thing-
like Gnome's Craigslist.
Yeah, and like honestly, like 80% of business is done on that place in the Nome Post. That's where you go, to buy something you might need, or trade, or if you need a four wheeler or it's mining equipment. Like I said, there's no
Never
mining.
knew that.
equipment. Yeah, Nome Post. That's where everyone goes if you try to, like, all your cars. If you want a car or a four wheeler, Nome Post is the place to go. But yeah, if you're a new person, I wouldn't just start messaging people. Like, you could, but I mean, that's not how it works. The people want to see your face. They want to see you. Most importantly, they want to know if they can trust you. And
Yeah.
You know, if you're not a drug addict or raging alcoholic, or
Right.
you know, just go to the docks. Go to the dock. There's like everyone's looking for divers, good divers that are going to work and do a good job, and you know, show up for work. And but the hard thing about Nome is there's no place to stay. That's the thing. That's why Vernon's boat was awesome, because I stayed on Vernon's boat, so I didn't have to find a place to stay. So right there saved me thousands and thousands of dollars not having to find a room. But once I started working for the film crew, then they got me a room. So, but yeah, that's the hard thing is to find finding a place in Nome to stay is really difficult, really expensive. If an apartment goes for rent, there's like 50 people trying to rent it, so they charge a lot of money for it, and the chance of you actually getting the apartment are really slim.
Now, I remember one season I saw people were camping on the beach. Can you still do that?
Yeah, so the town cracked down on that last summer. It used to be they would go back and forth, so that, you know, people would stay there for a couple of years, and then it would just get too big and too much trash, and people causing problems, and
That's
going down there because everyone's drinking and causing problems, and these people calling the cops, and so the cops just got sick of it, and just like they kind of ruined it. So now they went down and put stickers on everyone's equipment, said you gotta get out. You have 10 days to leave and take all your equipment. Because like I used to leave my beach box right next to Alex's, where he used to. So I'll be like, hey, dude, do you mind if you know, bring me some treats and some gas or whatever? Just keep an eye on my equipment. So I would just leave my those Vernon's. I bought the sluice box, the beach box thing that I was using, and I would just keep it right at Alex's place. He would keep an eye on it for me, and then whenever I had a few hours after work, I would go on the beach, could just get a couple of things of dirt, so I wouldn't have to set up all the time. Just throw it in the back of that thing, and then go take off, and then come back, and you know, just do that. But now you can't leave any of the equipment on the beach or camping, or they really crack down on it now. So the cops are down there all the time, and they don't let anyone even keep.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I mean, a couple of years might go by, and then, you know, they'll let one or two people, and then same thing. It just happens in cycles, and then it just gets too big and too many problems.
Just like everything, people always ruin a good thing, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens. Yeah, they used to let people do it, but just too much trash. People just leave all the trash. And
that's the worst.
Well, I
is
just
people
always thought
just
that would be
trash
fun to do
things
for a touristy thing.
They do.
Go beach with
So yeah, they won't let you do it anymore. So, and technically, I don't think you're really supposed to even like mine on the beach without permission, because I think a lot of the beach is owned by the Indian Corporation, and they don't really allow much. But a lot of beaches you're allowed to mine up until the high tide mark, and in Nome the high tide's only a foot or 1.3 feet or something like that. So you're only legally allowed to mine from where the ocean is up the beach, like a couple feet, and then the rest belongs to the native corporation. But not every spot. There are some claims on the beach. You just got to know where you are. But a majority of it is the Indian, and they don't give permission out to people to mine. But they're lenient on it for a long, long time. But technically, you're not supposed to. But like I said, there are claims where you are. There are public areas where you can mine on the beach. But
I saw you get kicked off of there when after the storm.
Yeah, so the places where I used to go all the time, I would go right in front of town, and a lot of people would, because you know, you go after a lot of people that even work there would just go after work and go with their family sometimes, and just have a good time on the beach and throw a couple shovelfuls in a high banker when their kids are out swimming or whatever. And they allowed it for the 4 or 5 years that I was there, and then all of a sudden that big storm came, and then everyone went out to the beach because everyone's like, oh, look at the spot that I was in. You could actually see little pickers on the beach. It was crazy. It was like, wow, look at all the buildings everywhere. You could see it on the beach. It was crazy. But then, you know, then all of a sudden they started kicking everyone off because, you know, there's gold everywhere, and I don't know, they just got mad. People were mining, and then the cops came and just told everyone to leave.
Do you miss the Barbie car?
No, I used that thing last year. That thing's the best vehicle Vernon has. That thing starts up every time. It always has a flat tire, so every time you use it, you got to pump it up.
You got to pump it up.
I was there in the winter, and there's 20 feet of snow. Next spring, got in the things, started right up.
Nice.
That thing's awesome. it's an all-wheel drive car, so I mean it goes really good on the beach, and it's so light, especially with the roof ripped off. It's lighter than like a four-wheeler, so that thing just zips on the beach. It goes over, just skims over all the bumps and everything.
I love that thing.
Drive it like you stole it, huh?
Yeah, that's cool. Convertible.
Dorothy Richardson asks, do divers get paid in cash or gold?
No, gold. So it's pretty much standard and known that the divers get 50% of the box. You know, some people will give you a little more, a little less, depending on your ability or whatever. But for the most part, on average, it's usually 50%. So if you have if you get a 10-ounce cleanout for the week, 5 ounces go right to the boat, which is the boat owner, and
Right.
pay all that stuff. And then, well, first of all, usually fuel's right off the top, so the whole fuel bill comes right off the top of whatever that is, and then you split it the rest 50-50. So say if I'm on there with another diver, say if there's like 10 ounces left over for the divers or whatever, you divide it by hours. So if I did 10 hours and say Gary did 10 hours, then we would split the gold equally. But if I only do 10, if I do 10 hours and Gary does 5 hours, then I would get
Okay.
double the amount of gold.
So
Right,
it's
so you-
bottom time.
Yeah, that's how a majority of people will do it. that way.
Your percentage is bottom time. Okay.
Yeah, bottom time only. So if I dredge 5 hours and he dredges 10 hours, he'll get double that 50%.
Okay.
5. That's
Well,
easiest.
that's fair. You know?
Yeah, if you have three or four divers, you don't just split it equally. But sometimes that doesn't work out. So say if Gary goes first and he gets like 4 or 5 hours in the bottom, and then a storm comes up when it's my time to dive and I get pulled off after an hour, I'm gonna get screwed, even though I didn't do anything wrong. So it's kind of hard the way it works. I mean, there's no easy way to really split it, but that's
Yeah, that's true.
because then it's just luck. It's not that I did anything wrong, or it's just bad luck. But
Yeah,
people say, I want to go first all the time because then they know they're gonna definitely get their shit in. And then
Right.
some divers be like, "Hey, you get to go first all the time," and I got screwed the last couple times. I want to go first, and some divers, if you don't get along, then you just start wrestling, and
Oh God. And nobody needs that on the boat.
Yeah, it happens. It's hard. It's really hard. Something like unless you get divers that are just really good that just can get along. That's the biggest problem is just the divers getting along because some guy's going to get more gold than the other guy. This guy, is willing to take more risk than the other diver. If this one diver in town, has a family to feed and he's supported on that gold, he's going to want to take 10 times the amount of risk than the guy that's up there just, not doing it for, as his life depends on it to feed his family. So and that happens all the time. Like boats get stranded out there, get washed out to sea, start sinking. When I was there, a boat flipped over and two dredgers died because they stayed out too long. That's the other thing in the ocean, that when the ocean comes up and you don't get out of there, you need to know when to call it. The captain's got to be smart enough to know to say, hey, this is going beyond our risk. We got to get out of there, or you can wind up dead. Like it happens quite often. We went out to rescue a dredge that got sent out 10 miles out to sea, and that dredge wound up sinking. But we went out to rescue. I mean, the guy didn't want to abandon his boat. He couldn't go back. It was sinking. This was all on the show.
That. Yeah.
So then he wouldn't get off the boat, and he's like, "We're like, jump off. We'll send you over the dinghy. Get in the dinghy and come on." He's like, if you're not going to tow us back, just get out of here. We don't want your help." We're like, screw it. So we went back to the shore, and then I gave him all the GPS coordinates, and then probably 6 hours later or whatever, Sean went up he's like, nah, we got to go get him. So Sean went out there and got him. And then at that time, he's like, okay, it's time to leave.
Oh, that was going to be my next question is, you ever been on a big rescue? Was there ever a mayday for, while you were out there?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, the one that they showed on TV, that was the rescue that we went. The last year I did a whole bunch of minor rescues. So last year during the summer, I worked for the film crew. So like I said, I was that same boat that they used, that Sean used to go get the guy that was stranded. I was captain of that boat the wild one. That's Sean's boat. So the TV crew rented that boat off Sean. So I was captain of that one. And then I was a boat pilot for the summer. So I rescued. let's see, Tyler, his dinghy went off. So Tyler would go 10 miles down on Tom Cod. So those guys' dinghies and skiffs would always like fail. And so I rescued him, Chris McCauley. I think even Chris Kelly last year. I think he's and got him. And then Tyler was on the rocks one time as that same dinghy went out. So I did a lot of minor rescues, nothing, no maydays, but just people that their engines went out 10 miles out, and it was nice weather. But they're like, hey, we're going out to sea. Come get us,
Yeah.
That's what's cool about Nome. Like if someone calls in, hey, we're in trouble. Like no matter what, someone's gonna go out there. There's no Coast Guard there, so we all rely on each other. So, I mean, you can call the Coast Guard, but there's no Coast Guard base for probably 500 miles. They're only coming out there if someone's dead, like big real emergency. There's no, the townspeople are the one that comes and helps you. Like when people get lost snowmobiling, there's like, the town people go out and try to find people.
So Nome and all the gold miners and all that, just that tight knit community.
Yeah.
Just are like, okay, we're gonna take care of this ourselves, and we're gonna find this person, or we're gonna help this person,
yeah, for sure. And then like
that's amazing.
Half the town shows like everyone wants to help. Like it's like a town that's stuck in 1950, like the way that morals were back in 1950. That's the way Nome is right now. Like everyone helps each other. It's a small town. If you're a jerk, the whole town knows you're a jerk if you're not trustworthy. Yeah. If you steal, that's it. You're done in Nome. Like you'll never get a job in Nome. Everyone knows who you are, and everyone knows that you stole or can't be. So it's like a town that's stuck in the 50s. But when there's an emergency, no matter if someone likes you or hates you, they're gonna come help you. And
that's
like Sean a million times went out and helped. Like the bigger boats that that Patriot dredge, they lost their engines in a storm. Was it last summer or the summer before? But yeah, Sean went right out there with he has a tugboat, so none of the little boats could do it, but Sean has the equipment to go do that. And even like Sean's constantly rescuing people that go off the road because in the wintertime with the cars and trucks because he has all the equipment. So like everyone's like, oh, call Sean. Like Sean does more time like community service, just rescuing people. So that's what's cool about Sean. Sean is really good with that. Like Sean's always constantly helping people. Like he's really good with that, whether it's in the ocean or on land or like one time in that big storm, someone lost their house and went under the bridge and then kind of collapsed. But Sean took the Christine Rose in the harbor and grabbed like all the debris and helped the guy find. He wanted his hunting rifles, like his precious, family heirloom. So he went through the stuff and he's so good with the excavator. He was using the thumb and really fine picking through the debris and found his guy's rifle. And I even have it on video. Like,
oh wow!
And then the guy like came out and they're all hugging and stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's a real small town, and everyone, no matter what, everyone helps each other. So
is that the storm you're talking about? Is that the one that the Myrtle Irene got caught up in?
No, there was a couple of years ago. There was a really big storm, hurricane. It's like one of the only hurricanes that went up there. I forget the name of it, Melbourne or Mel something. It was the one where it was really bad flooding. It was on the show. Just a really big hurricane type of storm came on and flooded the town. People lost a lot of their stuff. The roads got all washed out. Huge waves crashing over everything. Just a really, really big bad storm.
So where is the nearest Coast Guard to know?
I haven't a clue. There's none right there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So what's
Coast Guard.
the biggest storm you have been in on a boat? We see it, kind of on the show, it might be like 3 or 4 foot rollers to us, it's like, now wait a minute, that's not looking like a storm, but
like when you're out
being
there
out in the Gulf, I've known storms,
Yeah, there's not like major. I mean, you'll get some 10 or 12 foot seas, and by that time you're out of there for sure. That's a good thing about Vernon's boat too, is like, because the good side to having a bigger boat is it can take a lot stronger seas, and it's a catamaran too. So long as your nose is pointed in the seas, you can. We were usually the last boat standing, like especially like two summers ago when we were out there. we by far we stayed out another 3 hours after everyone had to go back in. But a lot of people out there have those little pontoon boats.
Right.
You know, around 3 feet. If it's still building, you can stay out in like 3 feet for those guys. But if it's gonna start building more, about 3 feet's when they get out of there. But the bigger the boat, obviously, the more you can stay out. But
Right.
you
More
can only
stable.
stay out so long before the ocean's going over your sluice box, or it's too much for the diver riding the hose, because you're on the hose like going like bucking,
Right.
and there's only 3 or 4 hours of that. You're like, man, I'm getting seasick,
Yeah, I'm done.
So I say our boat we would go in like 4.5 feet is when we would go in. But
What's the deepest that you've ever dredged?
my deepest was probably 33, 34 feet, and that's why my ears got all messed up, because I was down there too long, and I didn't realize. I think we started at like 30, 32, but once you dredge down, and if you dredge at low tide, it's 30 feet. High tide comes in, that's a couple feet. Then you dredge a hole, that's a couple feet. Next thing you know, you're at 34, 35 feet, and then you got waves on top of that. And yeah, I think I was down a little bit over the table, and then when I came up, I didn't stay. I just came up slow. I didn't do any decompress. I just came up real nice and slow because I didn't think I was further. But when I came up, Vernon was like, "What happened to you? Look at you!" And there's blood coming out of my ears. I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then every time I came up to, my sinuses are all messed up. That's why I don't like diving deep. Those guys are diving 40. I wouldn't. I only dove like around 30, because after 30 feet, man, my sinus every time I come up was all cracking and crumbling and all messed up. My blood just pouring out of my nose, out of my ears every time I came up.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't really like deep diving at all. It just
You ever been bent?
Dredging's my thing. It's just the pressure on me was just insane. Even when I was down there, you could just feel the crushing, the pressure on my. I don't know if I just had bad sinuses or ears but yeah, I got all messed up with my ears. And
Have you ever been bent?
No, I haven't been bent. Gary's been bent. My dredging.
I've
partner.
been bent twice.
Yeah, I think Gary was twice. Gary got bent once bad. He had to go to Seattle. They flew him in a special plane that could only go 2,000 feet. And they had to get special clearances. And I think the airplane ride was like $300,000. But
Yeah.
he had to go to Seattle and get put in that tank,
I went to from Alcova, Wyoming to Denver and spent a lot of time in a recompression chamber.
There was one time I came up and I was fine. I was taking off my wetsuit. Everything was good. It was a good dive. No problem. I didn't feel anything. I started feeling a little tingly. And then all of a sudden, I remember I was taking my suit off and just everything seemed fine. But then all of a sudden, just tunnel vision, all just started going black. And I was completely like awake. And I'm like, what's going on? This is weird, And just all my eyesight just started going and just tunneling into like one little spot.
Oh,
and
no.
Feeling like super tingly. And I didn't tell anyone, but like, oh shit, I think I'm going out, And then just very slowly, it just came back, and I'm like, oh wow, that was a close one.
They should have just put you back in and throw you down about 25 feet.
Yeah, I went back in after 3 hours after Gary's dive. I went back down.
Oh wow, you went back in. Now that's some.
We're on really good gold, so I'm like, screw it.
So is it funner to be in front of the camera or behind the camera?
For me, because I wasn't a main. If I was a main character, I would have like taken it more serious because you get paid. There's only so long that you can like be, in front of the camera and not get paid. I can't go up there every time. I mean, you do make gold, but the amount of gold that you make up there, you spend up there because it's so expensive. Like, if you just go to the bar just to get out of the boat and just have fun and meet people, it's $10 a drink, and then you got a tip. So you have a couple of drinks, next thing you know, you have 3 drinks is $30 gone, and then tip, $40, and then you're hungry, you get something to eat, you go to the Chinese restaurant, whatever, that's another $30-$40 just for a little plate of food,
It's a $300, $300 to $500 night.
The money you make up there, you spend, and then I was lucky, like I said, because I had a place to stay. But if you don't have a place to stay, then you need to buy an apartment, and then you need a car to get to work because you can walk, but I mean, Nome's a lot bigger than you think, and you need wheels to get along. So then you need a car. Vernon was nice enough he gave us a car, so that was part of the package. Is got a place to live in a car, so that was cool. But no, doing the TV stuff was cool, but like I said, it takes a lot of your time because they need to redo shots. Like sometimes when Vernon pulls up, he didn't pull up the way that they wanted, so we'd be like, "Hey Vernon, do you mind getting back in the car? I missed the shot," or your car. I was at the wrong angle and the sun was in the shot. Can you get back in your car, drive down the road, come back, get out of the car? You know, there was a lot of that.
Wow.
Thing. I mean, it just takes up a lot of time. And then when you're dredging, when the camera guy goes down there, you know, he's on scuba, so he can only be down there for an hour. So he's not down there the whole dive that I'm there. He usually goes down for 40 minutes. So he's trying to get my whole dive in 40 minutes. So if he gets all the stuff that he needs, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna kind of wrap up here. Can you just, you know, talk to Vern, say you had a good dive, and, like, you know, turn back up the hose. And so, you know, I play along because they're doing a story. You know, you're being filmed, so you play along with it. But I mean, I'm really down there diving, get my gold and stuff. It's just he needs to leave before my dive's over. So you'll have to, like, stop what you're doing, you know, talk to Vern, and then I'll have to go up the hose, and then he films you going up the hose, and I might not be done with my dive, but he needs a shot. So, you know, you just waste time doing that, and you're not getting paid for any of that. So every time I stop to do camera work, you know, since you're not getting paid, I'm losing gold, which is my paycheck. So, but it was fun. Like I said, I did it twice for two years, and then, you know, I'm like, it was fun. I did it, but, you know, it's not really for me to be a TV guy, you know. So, and I was like, I told everyone I was going to finish up the season, but I was like, you know, it's been fun a couple of years, but, you know, I'm gonna go back home. And then the camera crew got a hold of it. It was like, hey, you know, we're looking for someone to come work for us in the wintertime. We need someone to cut the ice holes, so the camera guy can go down. So, my job, I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds like fun. You know, I wasn't doing it. I usually go to Arizona and just hang out in the desert for the winter. I'm like, I can go actually make some money, you know, this winter instead of waste of money. So I took the job offer from those guys, and then so in the wintertime I would just go. My job was take care of all the snow machines. We rented like 20 snow machines from Sean. So my job was to, every morning I had to start up all 20 snow machines and make sure that the camera guys, when they showed up for work in the morning, they could just hop on the machines and go and film. Like, my job is to make the camera guys' life as easy as possible to do their job, so they can just, like, show up, hop on their machine, go out, and at each site there's ice shacks too. So the camera guy has his own ice shack. If you ever watch a show, there's like a blue ice shack, and that blue shack's the camera guys. So every site had every place had its own site. So I would go in the morning, start up the snow machines, and then after that, I would race out to every site and then warm up their ice shacks and get those all warm. And that was my morning routine. And once that was done, I'll go to the morning meeting, and then my boss would be like, hey, you know, Zeke's going to be diving today, so we need to go over to Zeke's spot, make sure that there's a 4 feet by 4 foot hole for the camera diver to go down and film Zeke, because he can't use the same hole that Zeke's using. So if Zeke does his whole mining thing, he needs his own hole. In case there's an emergency, Zeke, you know, 2 guys can't usually go up the same hole. So I would just make sure the camera guy has his own designated ice hole, which is extremely hard because that ice is usually like 5 to 7 feet thick. So I would have a steel chainsaw, the biggest one that they make, like a 5.5 foot bar, and go down and try to, and when you're sawing the ice, the water's coming up, spraying up, and it's like minus 30 degrees. The wind's blowing, you got ocean water all over you. The saw's freezing up, everything's frozen, wet, soaked. It was nasty. And then once you get the hole going, not only that, now you got these blocks of ice. So even if you did like saw off like a foot by foot block of ice, so a foot by foot times 5 feet, you know how much that thing weighs? That thing weighs.
Oh yeah. So what were you pushing them back down up underneath the ice?
So like the other miners, they would do that. They would just push them under and get them out of the way. Right. But I couldn't do that for safety reasons, because, you know, now we're in like when you start dealing with a film crew, you're in like a company like that needs to be safe and follow all the rules by the book, right? So that's super dangerous. If the camera guy's down there, there's a bunch of ice blocks that can go back up in the hole. So you got to make sure it's super safe for those guys. And so I would have to take each block, I would drill an ice screw into one, and then put tie a rope to it, and you kind of bounce it, and then and you just manhandle it out of the hole,
and then work it out. Oh my god!
And then you got to work it out. Sometimes the snow machine could help you with it, but most of the time we did it by hand.
Wow!
And so once you get the hole going, so usually it took us like 6 hours to make one hole. It just back-breaking work. Once you got the hole there, now you got to put a tent on it. So the camera divers, they just show up, they down, and then they go do their film work, and they're down there a couple hours, and then they'll be next. Okay, go to Chris Kelly's and put a hole over there. Like,
oh, jeez.
But it was hard work, but it was fun because like when I wasn't doing the ice hole, so they gave me freedom, because they knew I had a hard job. So I would just go around to each place and go hang out with all the cast, and like I'll go to Sean's and Emily's and Vernon's and
Nice.
hang out with those guys. But when it's time to work, I work. But yeah, and just reset for the next day. Just make sure once I get holes open, and the thing too is so like these guys would make their own hole. Like say Zeke would go down and make a hole, and you would once you're at a hole, you only have so if you have like a 50-foot hose and 30 foot of ocean, so you got 30 feet of hose going down. Now you only have like 15, 20 feet of hose to work with, so you can only make a circle. So I mean, you might only be able to work that spot for a day or two, unless there's no gold. Sometimes they go down, there's no gold there, so then they go and move, and which means after I get my hole done,
and then you got to go make another one.
Oh, and it's like, oh man. Anyways, that was really hard. So I did that for the winter, and that got done. And then the camera crew really liked how I was working. I worked really good. I got along with everyone, and all the cast, respected me because I was a gold miner too. So it was like all those guys, and anyway, they like me, like working for them. So they gave me a job for the summer, which was to drive the chase boat. So then I started doing that, and so I've been doing that since.
Nice.
Does the underwater drone help?
What's that?
What's that?
Does the underwater drone help put you on the gold?
Oh yeah, we were using that. They were actually using that same one last winter for filming too. They taped GoPros on it, so the film crew was actually using it more than the gold miners. But yeah, it does help for sure. Because with something like that, you can just take your ice auger and just ice aug like a really small hole to fit that drone in, and then you can put that drone in. I know Macaulay was using his drone quite a lot last winter.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon had one, but Vernon like using the fish, that little camera fish thing, because it was just a lot easier. He just dropped it in and the camera.
Right.
Man, that Macaulay, he's a good miner, man.
Macaulay's he's a full-time hardcore miner.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. Good work.
Yeah, he's a Canadian guy. He came over from Canada. He just got married and had a baby. Yeah, he's Canadian.
Oh.
He just got married.
Damn Canucks.
Yeah. But yeah, he's going to he had to be up there this summer with a brand new crawler, so that would be cool. That'd be really cool to see on the show.
Yeah, I really want to talk to Vernon about his crawler experience.
Yeah, Vernon's been trying to do a crawler for a long time. I know that's his goal. I know that's what he really wants. And to tell you the truth, a crawler is the way to go, man. You can. Some of the guys that are out there doing it now are like those are the guys, they don't even talk. Like, you have no idea what they're getting, but they're there every single year, and they're doing really good. I'm telling you. Chris Kelly just got a crawler too, so everyone's making a switch to crawlers. So Chris Kelly has a crawler. Vernon really wants a crawler. That's the next thing, because like I said, 40 feet's like the next depth, and have a diver at 40 feet. You're starting to get really dangerous. So everyone's starting to go to the crawler.
Wasn't Vern the first one to bring a crawler up there like 4 years ago or so?
Yeah, he had. I think in the wintertime he brought up this little 4-inch blue crawler.
He showed it on the show where it was dangling, it fell in the water, and
I think. I'm not sure if that was his or not. I think the company might have just came to let him use it. I'm not really. You can ask Vernon about that. I'm not really. I wasn't there for that, so I'm not really sure. But
yeah,
I know he has another one that he made. It's like a crawler that has a bucket. He used that. He drove that in the ocean a couple of times. But I think he's trying to come up with something like a really big crawler. He did buy. I'm sorry, he did buy one. The school bus. That's right. The school bus. I totally forgot about that thing. Yeah, he bought that end of last summer or the summer before.
15, I think
but
it is.
He didn't use that last summer. I think he has big plans for it. I think he wants to redo it. Yeah, I forgot about that thing. Yeah, he does. He does have a crawler. That's a big one too. I think it's 18 inches.
So you're an avid hunter, right?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of hunting, and I haven't hunted in a couple of years just because I've been busy up in Nome. I just been busy the last like 3 or 4 years. I actually haven't hunted in a couple of years, but
So
I just set up a bunch of cameras in my property. I got a ton of deer. I started feeding them. I'm feeding them corn. I'm trying to make friends with them, see if I can hand feed them. But there's so many deer up in Maine where I am.
So me and 406 Miner were out prospecting in Montana last year, and we heard something kind of freaky that I'm an avid hunter and I've never heard this ever.
I'm an avid hunter too.
And I've been
So
prospecting this
share
claim
this
for
with
4
you.
years prior to this too. So some heads up, and I've never heard it.
So this is where we heard
Listen to this.
noise is Nick and Stacy. They're part of the Gold Club, and it was on this property. So let me just share the screen here, and I'm gonna play it for you guys. And chat can chime in too, but.
And listen to the enhanced version. It's the second part.
I was guessing Forticating mountain lions.
There we go. This is good. Yeah, that was around our camp.
So,
Oh, really?
Yes.
So what do you
Sasquatch?
think?
And that was the second time my wife actually had she was at camp when we were mining, and she's like, there's weird noises. And that was during the day, and that was at night. It was
Interesting.
so we're getting anybody and everybody's take on that.
No idea.
Ray Rusa says it sounds like a mountain lion.
I've heard a lot of weird things, but not that.
Right?
That,
I don't know.
Red, that's not a mountain lion. Trust me.
Oh, that's just what Ray Rusa said.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've
I
spent
was
a
thinking
lot of time in the
Forticating
woods.
one, yeah.
I've heard like one time I thought some woman was screaming. It sounded so real, like a woman.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
It was.
I was in my tree stand and I was so nervous that someone needed help. So I actually got down and started looking, and it was a stupid raccoon making the sound. It sounded just like a screaming woman.
So I was extremely drunk when I was in my younger years, and I found a burning vehicle on this like really remote bush road with me and my buddies, and we heard the exact same thing. It sounded like someone was down in the ravine, just screaming bloody murder. We ended up getting the whole search and rescue team out there, and it ended up being a fucking raccoon.
Yeah.
That was no.
We weren't friends with search and rescue and the police. We'll just say that because we were kind of intoxicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it sounded so real, like it was someone needing help screaming. And I was like, God, I better get down. Like I thought someone was hurt for sure, and I got down and I only went like a couple hundred yards, and then sure enough, it was a freaking raccoon. Just like
that. I've dealt with raccoons, but that I've never heard anything like that in my 50 years of.
I don't know what that. I'm an East Coast person. We don't have any mountain lions, or we don't have anything big really that would make that kind of noise.
Well, we're getting all kinds of different answers: bobcats, peacocks, wolverines, coyotes. So who knows? Mr. Lodak is asking, have you told the story about the cave and the creature yet?
Oh.
Maybe it was angry that we've gone into Spider Mine.
Yeah, that's what Mr. Lilac did. He wanted to tell the story. I was up in Arizona with Mike Pong and the fishers they found that gold dredge in South Carolina there.
Yeah.
Tim Fisher, Ross Fisher. It was Mike Pong. Who else was there? Jim Hamilton was there. It was an after party after one of the gold shows. We all went out. Anyway, we went to this mine, and for whatever reason, I went way in. I saw this really cool structure I've never seen before in a mine. There was all this cribbing, holding this huge boulder that was like suspended, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was like, wow, this is insane. So I'm looking at all this stuff, and all of a sudden, something started coming at me from the dark of the mine that was on the other side because it kind of forked off, and I didn't know what it was, and just instinct. I had a pistol, 357 Magnum, and just even without thinking, I just grabbed it and just went boom, boom. And so whatever it was, like, stopped and turned around and went back into the mine, and I could tell it was something big and made a lot of noise when it was like running at me. I just saw a big shadow, no idea what it was, and I didn't even think, just started shooting at it, right? Yeah. Anyway, I turned around and went back in the mine, and then the last time I shot, I was freaking nervous, and I stepped backwards and fell, and I slammed my elbow, dropped the gun, slammed my elbow, hit my funny bone. And all of a sudden, whatever it was started running back towards me, and I'm on the ground like awkward because it was like a mound of this dirt, so I'm kind of like backward. My hands all messed up. My funny bone. I'm trying to grab the gun. It's pitch black, mind you. This is like 100 yards into a mine, pitch black. I dropped my flashlight. Oh yeah. Trying to grab my flashlight, trying to get the gun, and I'm on the ground. My elbow's all messed up. Shot again, boom! And then finally, I saw this thing. It like spun out, and then ran right past me and out the mine. It was one of those wild pigs, but anyway, Tim Fisher or Ross Fisher is his son. He fell down. He heard all this commotion, and then I was probably like 50 feet ahead of him, and he didn't know what was going on. He thought the mine was collapsing, so he fell down too and slammed his elbow, and blood all over the place. And then when I was going out, I saw blood all over the ground. I'm like, at least I hit whatever that stupid thing was. And then I got out, and everyone's laughing. They're like, there's a freaking pig came out, and Ross, we thought you were dead. And oh, it's the funniest thing.
Oh, wow. Good old
that was
pig.
up in there.
Jeez.
Where was that?
I probably would have done the same thing.
It was funny. But I didn't know what was in them. I'd never been in mines. I don't know what lives in mines, mountain lions or bears. All I knew was something coming at me.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So your first reaction was going to be shoot. Absolutely.
Yeah, screw that. I'm not going to wait around.
So I have your YouTube page up here, Brian. You've got two YouTube pages.
Don't give Stacy.
I started another one doing my stuff in Maine.
Oh, okay.
Well, is that what that Wilder Outdoors? Yeah, I just started that one. There's nothing good on there. Like, I'll build that one up as soon as I get the sawmill up there, and when I start building cabins, I just kind of started it. But my other one's my gold prospecting one, American Gold Prospectors.
This one right there.
Yeah, that's my main one.
That's Brian's main page. What do you got on here, Brian? You got all kinds of stuff on here.
Yeah, I got all the stuff from Arizona to Virginia to Nome to Chicken. I got Vermont stuff in there, New Hampshire stuff, Maine stuff.
Well, that one you dredged up a bunch of chunky gold. That one I'm going to watch later.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I've been all around, and the as far as biggest gold's here in the Northeast. Like, I mean, they got really good stuff in California, but you can't dredge there. But
right
here too.
Chicken has a ton of gold for sure, but it's all small gold. It's not very big gold. But the Northeast here, we have very little gold. Like, you can only find a gram or two, like, every now and then. But it's bigger gold. That's what's cool. Like, say in a year, I mean, you're lucky if you spend all summer mining in the Northeast here. Like, you'll be real lucky to find an ounce. Usually, like, under an ounce. So even if you spend like weeks dredging, But the cool thing is, it's bigger gold. When you do find one, you usually find pickers, like grammars, 2 grammars. So there's not a lot of gold up here, but when you find it, it's bigger, which I like because I do it for fun. Like, I don't really do this to make money. So.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and
all the
we'd
gold
be
I found,
ecstatic if we found a a 2-grammer. My biggest is like a 0.1.
Yeah, here, I'll show you a little gold point, I guess.
Oh,
So this
make
is,
it big, make it big.
We're gonna make them big.
most of this is all just New England stuff. Oh, it's Oregon.
Oh, your background is.
Oh, back.
Your background's hiding you.
There we go.
I see flashes of yellow.
You have to take your background off, I think.
Okay. Then you have to see my ugly background.
Oh,
That's okay.
you really think we care?
We'd rather see gold.
Yeah.
I don't know. There we go.
Hey.
There you go.
Oh.
boy.
Holy cow.
So this is when I
Oh.
first started. This is my first year. So my first year, like I found this one little tiny picker, and then
Hey.
some finds. But this is all divvied by year. So that was first year. And my second year, this was my second
Nice.
year. Is all
Wow.
all that stuff.
And that's all up in the northeast.
So this is my first actual picker. Was the second year I started dredging, and then all this was the second year I dredged. But they're all like good sized pickers. And then as the time went, this was the biggest one,
Wow.
first biggest one. That was the
Wow.
9.2. And then a whole bunch of these were all like 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 grammers. And then coming in, I started
Holy.
getting bigger stuff. This one I have a video on. This is looks like a goldfish, but I couldn't call it the goldfish nugget because where I was, there was another one called the goldfish nugget. That was
Oh, look at it.
a little Jack Duggins and John found the goldfish nugget, and that was like a little under an ounce, but it was way bigger than this one. This one's only 9 point something.
What
Long.
about calling it the guppy?
So yeah, it looks like a snow machine actually. So I call that snow machine
Might be Slimer.
or something. I don't know. And then
Holy cow.
yeah, these are some of
Wow.
the. Yeah, this is just from. This is mostly New England.
Now
I
we
got
don't
another-
like you anymore. No, just
I got another piece of it.
Oh, wait. Look at this.
This one, I just have this. This was another big one I got.
I
And,
just have this. Get out of here.
I
Oh, wait.
just have this.
And then
Yeah,
the other,
right.
these ones over here. And then the rest are coins.
Oh. Joe is a big coin guy. What kind of good coins you got?
These are just some gold ones. That's a Mexico peso. And this one, 1915 Australian Dragget. Sorry, I got a really bad camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
I got
funny,
it.
man.
We can see it, man.
This one's cool. This one's a graded PCGS. This one's a 70.
Hey,
This
we
one's
we like shiny things.
Absolutely.
a Kennedy one. Just
Squirrel.
Morgans, some maples, and just regular ones. The only two, so these are the only two that I have in my collection that I didn't find. All the other ones I found. These
Holy
ones,
cow.
I forget if I won them at an auction or outing or something. But out of all this stuff, except for the coins, obviously, but all these pickers and stuff, all of this stuff here, I found. This is only the stuff that I found on my own. Like it wasn't part of a group. So
Oh, wow.
all that gold I have different, like all my gnome gold and chicken gold. That's in a jar that I keep somewhere else. But all that's the ugly gold or stuff that I didn't find like on my own is somewhere else. But out of this whole case, these are the only two that are what I found. The rest I found all this stuff.
I like that. The ugly gold.
I think
Yeah,
I need a bucket for all of the drool I'm
Yeah.
producing.
Like all the finds, are in the back, so that's all.
Oh,
the
those
finds.
spines are beautiful.
Yeah, all the decent sized gold, I keep in this little case, and then everything else I just put in a jar.
So, what would you rather find? Well, we all would want to find nuggets, but you know what I mean. But what makes your scale go up faster, nuggets or the fine gold?
Yeah, I just like I said, I don't do this for a living. I do it 100% for fun. So I like finding nuggets. I like hunting nuggets. Like, I mean, the dust is cool too, but to me that's boring. So, There we go. So- but yeah, all the little stuff. I mean, yeah, if you're trying to make money, for sure, the little stuff, it all adds up. And most miners that are on Gnome, they need to do it to make a living. But I kind of do it for fun. So I just wanted that experience. So I went to Gnome, did the Gnome thing, and just dredging was fun, and just trying something different. Because I'm used to just river dredging. That's all I ever did was river dredging. I just, anytime an opportunity comes, I usually take it. Whether I don't know, I'll just try it, because what's the worst can happen? I go up there, don't like it, and leave.
Right.
So usually when a door knocks, I open and go for it, even if it's not really my thing or I don't feel comfortable doing it. And like TV, like I would have never thought I could be on TV and just I don't know, go that route. And
Right.
I don't know, I just tried it. I didn't think I would be able to do it. It just could be too nervous or whatever. But
And
I'm
then
like, screw it, I'll
A
try
couple
it.
of years later, you're the ice hole guy.
Whatever opens, I try like other shows. So even when I was in Nome, so last September, a brand new show contacted me. That's going to be on Discovery, and I know they contacted a whole bunch of other guys in the mining community. But there was a new show that's going to happen in Canada, or at least they're trying to get it started. So, anyways, I'm on Bering Sea Gold, still doing like interviews for other shows and stuff. So anything that opens, I didn't tell them I was on. I didn't tell them I was already working for a show. So I do the interviews, and if it happens, it happens. And I just.
Well, we'll have to chat backstage.
Yeah, we'll have to talk backstage.
So we're actually coming up on 2 hours.
I got
Wow,
one
that
last
went
question. I got to get this last question in, because I'm over here in New York and I want to go up there to Vermont or New Hampshire. When is their season open? When is the rivers fully flowing? And what time of year? May, end of May.
New Hampshire, actually, you can dredge any time you want in New Hampshire. There's no rules about a date, but Maine has a date of I think June 15th to October 15th for motorized equipment. You can pan and sluice or non-motorized anytime out that window. But Vermont, there's no motorized equipment whatsoever, and actually you can't even use a sluice box in Vermont without a permit. I know a lot of people do, but they do write out tickets. I know several people have got like $300 tickets, which I think is stupid. A sluice box? I mean, come on, it's a sluice box, That's the most dumbest law, but Bernie Sanders runs that state, so that's probably why,
Is the river still frozen up there or no?
Oh, frozen. So Maine's still frozen. I was just there yesterday. My river still has thick ice on it. The water's starting to flow on top of it, so it was just starting to break when I left yesterday. But there was still like a foot of ice with the water flowing on top, but it started cracking and breaking. So it's about this time is when the rivers actually start breaking, at least for Maine. I'm kind of in like central Maine, which is, I don't know if that's higher than New Hampshire and Vermont, but right about this time you can get in there. But another good fact about Vermont is, I believe if you look it up on Wikipedia, Vermont has the highest purity gold, if not in the world. It's definitely in the United States. It might even be in the world, but
wow,
I'm pretty sure Vermont, like look on Wikipedia, because I looked it up the other day too. Vermont is at least one of the highest purity golds at least in America. But anyway, it's really,
Brian,
really pure.
You've got it.
But there's not a lot. But in Vermont, like almost there's a lot of fine gold in Vermont. There's not a lot of big gold. But Vermont's really good. I wish it used to be open for dredging like 10 years ago. But I mean, if you could dredge in Vermont in a good spot, you're still looking at maybe 1 gram a day, 2 grams a day. Not a lot. You get fun, and nowadays.
Well, I think that's what we're going to give. We're going to give that a try in New England.
Yeah.
You sold me with all those pictures that you showed. So,
yeah, but I mean, so what I showed you, that's 12 years of. And when I go for a week or two. Like I hit it hard. Like I hit it really hard. So I do a lot of dredge. That right there, that's 12 years of pickers and nuggets. So
well, maybe I'll
really
get
hard work. And when I go, I mean, I move massive boulders. Like me and my buddies, we get together with winches and we'll move these huge boulders. We zip line down into the creeks to you got to go where no one goes too if you want the good stuff, you know, because a lot of these have been hit for years.
Oh, yeah.
So I set up zip line, and I'll zip line my dredge down canyons where, you know, no one just wants to go. And that's part of the fun. That's what I like doing. You know, setting up that's part of the whole dredging experience is like going to really cool places where you didn't think you could go. And, you know, if it takes you a day to set up a zip line and get your stuff down there, that's just part of the fun and excitement.
So what's your dream spot to go to? What's on your bucket list?
I don't know. I mean, I always wanted to dredge in California, and I did that. Was it last winter or the winter before? So
Cool.
I guess I fulfilled that. You're not supposed to, but I do.
I know
Let's
you
do-
should go dredge in Montana if you haven't dredged here yet.
Famous rivers in California, like the Yuba, you know, with a big 10-inch dredge. I would like to. Any of the really good producing places in Cali, that would be fun to dredge.
And you've got another offer from Creed.
Nine Finger Mining, Creed.
He's got a claim up in Fairbanks if you want to dredge with him. He's a good,
Yeah, that's cool.
good guy.
Yeah, Chicken was really fun. I went to Chicken's not too far, you know.
Yeah.
We flew into Fairbanks and spent some time there. We went to Gold Daughters. That's the only mining I've ever done in Fairbanks. Is did a few cans of Gold Daughters. But we rented a car and we drove around Fairbanks for a little bit, checked out all the old mining stuff, and then from there we went to Chicken.
Nice.
Chicken's
Well,
fun.
yeah.
The only thing in Chicken was there's no big gold there. Actually, when we were there, we found me and Gary found the biggest piece that they've ever found there, and it was only like a 5-gram nugget. But those guys are like all ecstatic, and I'm like, well, I get 5-grammers all the time. It's like no big deal. It's like everyone at camp, even the camp owners, are like, oh my god, look at this thing. I got videos of it on my channel, but it's called like Camp Record Nugget or whatever. It's only like 5 grams, but they're all like,
Only
wow.
5 grams. Oh my god. Yeah. We find flour gold here, you know.
Yeah, Chicken's really good gold. I mean, there's just gold everywhere. That's the only place that I've been dredging where there's gold throughout the whole overburden. Like normally everywhere else, the gold's on the bottom. You know, it's in the bedrock, it's on the clay. But Chicken, it's all in the wherever you go, on the bank, in the middle of the river, and all the overburden, the gold's everywhere.
Wow.
There's no like super hot spot. And even when you get to the bedrock's so soft there that the 10-inch dredge would, if you left the nozzle there, it would eat up the bedrock. Like you would literally eat 3 feet of bedrock just with the. It's like
is that
like
one of your one of your videos? You know, running a 10-inch dredge when you guys are just kind of moving it down creek.
Yeah. That was up in Chicken. But that's the only spot that I've been in. It's like gold and all the overburden. The rest of the places, in Nome a little bit too in the ocean, but most of the gold was on the clay. And that's what's cool in the ocean. I didn't know it was on the bottom of the ocean, but the same thing as like a river. It's a clay bottom. Just like a river. It's got the same kind of clay that's on the river.
Hey Trav, Free Spirit needs a wrench if you get a chance.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
We just mod everybody up for they can go and hit everybody's channel for they can, you know, like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean?
Share the love. That's right.
We're just trying to build this little channel up, you know, and that's why we have big names like you.
So we have this.
Vernon will be cool. Vernon will be next week. That'll be a good show. Vernon's he always puts on a really good show. So
yeah, where's Vernon?
Stay tuned next week.
Did you send him the link, Trav?
Oh, we'll see him next week.
Yeah, I sent.
Yeah, he'll be on next week. Don't miss that one. That'll be a good one. Vernon's always fun to talk to.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun live next week. So, we're almost at 2 hours. We're going to give away this gold, this little painter.
Oh wow!
That looks familiar.
Wow.
Yeah, that looks really familiar.
A nice little bag. I got a question for you, Brian.
Yeah.
If I send this to you, will you sign it to our winner?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Cool. Thank you very much.
And then he'll send it to me. I'll pay for the shipping, Brian, to send it back to me, and then I will send it to the winner. Okay?
He's in Uzbekistan.
You should just send it to Nick. Keep it in the States.
Is it is it sealed or Can you open it?
Huh?
It can be
is it
open.
a sealed
Yeah.
bag?
It can
No,
be
it's not
opened.
sealed.
I was gonna say maybe I'll throw something in there if I can open it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not sealed. You can open it.
You can open
Ooh.
Seal them.
Yeah.
That's
Can
pretty
you?
awesome.
Oh yeah, you can. You can open them. There you
Oh, yeah,
go.
they're all
Yes, you
Maybe.
can.
There you
Ooh.
go.
Maybe there'll be a
He's
little
gonna-
surprise in there.
Oh boy! All right, so I'm gonna put my name in that. I won't even.
Well, if it's
Yeah, me
anything
too. Well,
different than 18 mesh, it's for Brian.
somebody has to because I can't. I'm
there
on
you
my
go.
phone and I can't get in chat.
So we're gonna do a comment picker for this little bag of Peter. We'll figure out. There it is. You guys see it? Already in. There you go. So put your comments in there, people. If you want something from a signed Peter bag and something extra.
Maybe. Allegedly.
And if I win it, I'll donate it to somebody. Because
Come on, Chad, put me in there.
Hater back.
We thank you, Brian, so much for coming up, man. It's been great chatting with you. We're so thankful that you came up.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, very
One la-
interesting conversation, that's for sure.
One little question. What was your best and most, I guess, fun time with Vernon?
Oh man, just the whole time. It was cool hanging over Vernon because all you got to say is you don't have your wallet with you, and you always bought your dinner and bought your drinks at the bar. And
Well, there you go.
no, Vernon's very generous. So no, just anytime with Vernon, we would go up to the AKU camp like on Wednesdays, and just hang out and have a good time and meet all the other campers. Like we would just go up for dinner, and if you don't know, like AKU is like one of the big camps that you can pay to play. You know. So yeah, we go to the AKU camp and meet all the other miners and have dinner and have fun. Yeah, we would go on road trips. Me and Vern went a couple road trips to council. One time there was a brand new sign up on the Cougarak Road. I'm like, stop. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, new sign. Boom, 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 boom. Right out the car window. We had a lot of fun. We went to Clara Creek. That was a whole fun experience up in Nome. We went to the Cougarak to go dredge at the Cougarak. That was fun. We were out there, campfire going and dredging up there. No, I mean, when Vern's not yelling, he's kind of fun to hang out with, you know.
He sounds like he's a riot.
Yeah, no, he's really good. I know they show him yelling a lot, but if he's yelling, it's usually because he did something stupid and he deserved to be yelled at.
Well, and I've watched this show and I kind of went, why is he kind of a little bit stern? You know what I mean? But it might be for the show, but I can see
the way Vernon is.
How
the way
he is with everybody.
Yeah, the way he is exactly. He doesn't put on an act for the show at all. The way he is what he is, and sometimes he just doesn't want people to get hurt. If you're doing like if I'm holding the rope the wrong way, like he's really good at boats. Like so he was a captain to drive big oil tankers, like the Exxon Valdez before after it got renamed or whatever. He even drove that thing. He drives cruise ships. He's a boat pilot, like for the major, tankers and stuff. So, he knows a lot about boating and everything. And, one time I was holding the rope wrong, which is right. He lost his mind, started yelling at me. I'm like, what the hell? But I mean, if I'm holding the rope wrong and the boat turns the wrong way, it could like rip my hand off. So, I mean, when he yells at you, it's usually because you're doing something stupid. And, you know, and the cool thing about the way he does it, like 2 minutes later, he's like your best friend again. Like he never yelled at you, like he doesn't hold a grudge or nothing. So,
well, it's like, hey, stupid, don't do this. And okay,
I mean,
we're done.
99% of the time, it's because you usually deserve to get yelled at because you're doing something stupid or whatever.
But it seems like they like to produce drama, so it makes the show more exciting.
It's
So I mean, they show. I mean, think of the show is an entertainment show. It's not a gold dredging show. It's not like
Yeah.
You know, I hope dredgers watch it, but how many people that watch that show are actually prospectors? Maybe 0.05%, you know?
Yeah.
The rest of the people that watch a show are people who just watch it for entertainment. And that's what it is.
They want to see the drama.
you know,
They want to
it's
see
real.
the yelling, the fighting, the
Yeah, I mean that's what really happens. Like all that stuff is like 99% real. Like none of it's really made up because there's so much real stuff that happens. So a lot of that's like all the real deal, and you know, people watch that because what if they just showed someone just dredging for 1 hour? You know, that's boring as hell.
oh yeah,
I mean, to us dredgers, that would be cool. Like they want to see all the real gold prospecting, but
right.
when you're making a show like that, you're catering to 99% of your audience, which just wants the drama. They want the BS and entertainment.
I could put a camera up and on a tree and watch leaves blow
Right,
for
yeah.
10 freaking hours, and might get great views or whatever, but they want that drama. They want that,
Yeah.
oh
How many
my
episodes?
God, you stupid mother,
Yeah. Dave had a question. How many episodes? I was on 20 episodes, 2 seasons, 10 episodes a season.
That's cool.
Like I say, my favorite video was Ray.
All right.
Oh, Ray Russo on the ice cold or cold gold?
No, that the beach miner Ray.
Oh,
that was my favorite. Just
yeah. Actually, Ray Russo, I saw him in here. You should have him on your show. He was on Cold Gold, the one that went to Greenland.
Yeah, he's coming up in a few weeks.
Yep.
Actually,
we got him
yeah,
too.
Yeah,
And then we got Mike coming up, Mike Pung on April 28th as well.
Oh yeah, Mike's always good. Ask
Yeah,
him about
Mike
the Javelina story. He'll tell you that same story.
The Javelina. Oh, is that
The one who was in the mine, yeah.
No.
There you go. We'll bring it up. We got 60 awesome people in here. We got 42 entries in for this little painter bag.
6
This
people
little
on my
painter
chat
bag
haven't entered yet.
is going to be signed by Mr. Bryan Wilder, and he may or may not add something to it. We don't know. So 42 entries. That's the hashtag. We're going to give it another minute for you guys to put it in, and then that's it.
I got to say,
Start timing.
out of all the shows I've watched, Brian, I've binge watched your YouTube shows.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Like I said,
Yeah,
I wish I did
I
it better, but it's so hard to make either a good show or do the dredging. You can't do both.
Yeah.
Unless I had a camera guy with me or something, but it's hard to do both.
Hey Brian, why doesn't Vernon go and maybe float that bucket dredge out in the Bering Sea? Is it just like a logistics thing or money thing?
You mean the crawler that he has?
No, that bucket dredge that you guys went and panned on.
Oh, the bucket, oh yeah, that thing's old.
Well,
it was just running in the 80s, I think.
Well, I was just wondering,
Yeah, I think just modern equipment that they have now with all the, because back then they didn't have the infrastructure to bring a bunch of diesel in and all the bulldozers, and they weren't there. But now, since time's passed, I think there's so much mining equipment in Nome now because throughout all the years they got a lot of D9 dozers up there and dump trucks, and I think it's just more cost productive to use the modern equipment.
Okay, well, I was just like Tony Beats, on Gold Rush, resurrected a bucket dredge.
Yeah, it would be cool if it was.
That would be cool, put it on an old school bucket dredge working. Gosh, I'd love to see it,
Yeah. Man, I guess that would be my dream, is to run a bucket line dredge. That would be really cool. But yeah, I think just the money going, and then
yeah.
maybe you just can't do it permit wise or whatever. I think back in the day, it might have made sense because, for all I know, they just used coal or they used wood to use boilers and steam pressure or whatever to get it going. But nowadays, they have the infrastructure to have diesel and modern trucks and stuff like that. So, and
Well,
plus,
I'll just ask
like
him next week.
yeah, well, like over at Sean's place. So this year, last summer they're inland mining over there, and I think it was down like 80 feet. So they're hitting really good gold at 80 feet, but they had to excavate all that stuff out. But I don't think that bucket line dredge could actually go down that far. So, I mean, when you move that arm down, it could probably go down maybe 30, 40, 50 feet, but I don't think it'd go down to 80.
That would be perfect in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they did. They had the Burma dredge, the biggest bucket line dredge that's ever floated, was in Nome in the 80s.
Oh.
Bima or Burma or Bama or something. You can look that one up too. It's that's on Wikipedia too for Nome for biggest dredge or whatever it was in Nome. And that worked there in like the 80s, and it just back then the gold price was only like $200 or $300 an ounce, so it just wasn't. They
now
got
what?
Gold
Now
for
it's $3,000 an ounce.
But I think nowadays,
All right.
permitting, you probably couldn't get the permits to run something like that no more.
No.
Just
We'll
guessing.
We'll just press Vernon on it, and I think he's maybe lurking.
Yeah, he said he was going to be.
He
lurking.
is lurking.
He said.
Hey,
All
Vernon.
right, let's run this hashtag. We've got 44 entries. It's been a minute.
Out of
So I'm
64
gonna press
peeps.
Run it.
Out of 64 peeps. Here we go.
Good luck.
Alaska
Oh,
Gold.
All right.
Oh, nice job.
Justin.
Congrats.
Justin's still here.
Congratulations. Yeah, you got to be here.
Yeah, he's here.
You gotta be here. Justin, are you here?
He's
I
here.
know
He's here.
I know.
He just commented.
I
Yeah.
wanted to say here. Justin, say here.
Go Penning
that's
Dutchy. How's it going, man?
Wicked good.
Yeah, he was up
man.
in he was on Whitewater.
He was. And he's going to be up. I just got to figure out a date. We Red Dirt Nation guys got to do a special date before April 18th for
Cool.
Mr. Justin. Anyways,
Yeah,
are you going up to Alaska anytime soon? Do you want to stay?
I'm waiting for the green light. Hopefully, we're going up this summer to film, but
Okay.
they don't let me know until like 2 weeks before you're supposed to go. So,
Oh, wow.
but yeah,
Wow. On your
so this
life.
winter they didn't film this winter, but they still have all the camera gear. Everything's still up there, so they didn't cancel the show. It's just on hiatus. It happened a couple times before, so
Well,
hopefully it's just hiatus, and then the summer they'll film again. I hope, but you don't know until you go. So
Right.
You can tell him you know a few guys
yeah,
Yeah.
who know how to
Afraid of
gold
an
mine.
adventure.
yeah. I mean, they're looking for people hard up there. Like I said, just go up, just take a weekend and go up there, go to the docks, ask people, and sure enough, if you show up there, the half the battle is just showing up. If they see you got the power to go up there and actually do it and go up there,
Yeah.
that's half the battle is just showing up and showing that how much you want the job, and then usually you'll get hired right on the dock.
So we got a couple little things I want to show with everybody. Next week, Red Dirt Nation, we've got Mr. Vernon Atkinson coming up. Brian's
Perfect.
old pal. And then we are doing a benefit for Miss Mary, who's been given the gears tonight in chat, which we love. We love
Yes.
Mary for doing that.
We love
So here's
Mary.
Here's a little video of the fundraiser we are doing for Mary. Awesome. With that, we've been live for 2 hours and, well, let's just call it 15 minutes.
Yep.
Just
Thank
flew
you,
by.
Brian.
Cool.
We appreciate
Yeah, anytime.
it.
Thank you very much for coming up, man. You've been awesome and answered all our questions. And
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime.
We did have a nice raid from Rose Nose Gold or Nose Treasure. Sorry for that.
Thanks for coming
So
in,
thank you for
everybody.
the raid. Mr. Lodak's been helping out, and just posting all kinds of links. He's been posting your links, Brian, all night. And Flash, everyone's been helping out in chat, so I appreciate that. Everybody in chat helping out. We are going to go backstage and hang out for a little bit. If you want to come backstage, there is the link. It should be posted on everybody's channel. So wherever you are, if you want to ask a question to Brian, I don't know if he's hanging out or not, but we're going to go back. We're going to go back and have a little wobbly pop and whatever. And
you can come for the backstage shenanigans.
There you go.
Last night we had an after party and I had Steve Rydell come in. So Steve was on. We're talking to Steve.
Nope.
You know what's funny is after Vernon, we have Steve coming up. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just hanging out with him last night. It was funny.
There you go.
That's great.
Awesome. We love Bering Sea Gold, obviously, as you can see. Anyways, Red Dirt Nation's out, everybody. Have a safe week. See us next week with Vernon. Have a good night.
Later.
Thanks all.
Later, YouTube.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.